swamp. For more information on the only candidate for State Senate District 23, endorsed by Missouri Right to Life and the NRA, visit adamformo.com. Vote Adam Schnelting on August 6th.
Protect Our Kids PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising. Paid for by Protect Our Kids PAC. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studio.
That's GetJim.com.
97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
How far away was Oswald from Kennedy? I'm Chris Foster, Fox News. FBI Director Chris Wray says the shooter at a Trump rally in Pennsylvania had looked up those details about President Kennedy's shooting. He says they still don't know why Thomas Crooks did it.
I think it's fair to say that we do not yet have a clear picture of his motive.
Director Wray at a House Judiciary Committee hearing today. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu addresses Congress next hour.
Benjamin Netanyahu believes there is broad cross-party support for his country's war on Hamas. But while Republicans who invited the Israeli Prime Minister to speak promise a warm welcome, some Democrats and independents intend to boycott. They are angry at what they see as a military campaign which has killed or left destitute too many innocent Palestinians. Also absent will be Vice President Kamala Harris on what we're told is a long-scheduled trip, and Republican VP candidate J.D. Vance, who has campaign events to attend.
Fox's Jonathan Savage. Vice President Harris is in Indianapolis speaking at a Zeta Phi Beta sorority event. Former President Trump has a rally today in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Ahead of the former president's rally, his campaign sent out 2 emails focused on Vice President Kamala Harris. Specifically, her past comments about police and what they call her far-left record. Last weekend, before President Biden said he was no longer running, the former president was characterizing Harris this way.
You know, you can tell a lot by a laugh. No, she's crazy. She's nuts.
In her first rally as the presumptive Democratic nominee, Harris told a crowd in Milwaukee Tuesday that as a prosecutor, she went after predators who abused women and fraudsters who ripped off consumers.
So hear me when I say, I know Donald Trump's type.
President Biden is scheduled to address the nation tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern. Jessica Rosenthal, Fox News.
Stocks are lower today, especially tech stocks. America's listening to Fox News.
The doctor's office that accidentally mixed up your files has your social security number. The power company that mistakenly cut your service has your payment info. And the hotel that lost your reservation has your passport number. You need LifeLock because your personal info is in endless places that can expose you to identity thieves. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points every second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed or your money back. Save up to 40% with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
You can host the best backyard barbecue when you find a professional on Angie to make your backyard the best around. Connect with skilled professionals to get all your home projects done well. Inside to outside, repairs to renovations. Get started on the Angie app or visit Angie.com today. You can do this when you Angie that.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Partly sunny skies. Nothing extreme with our heat, but this is the hottest afternoon of the week. 90 degrees, moderate humidity, maybe a couple of spot little pop-up thunderstorms. Tough to find. Tonight, clear skies. 80s this evening, 72 for the low on Thursday. Partly sunny, some spot afternoon storms, 87. Friday, sunny, also 87. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
When you face storms like we've had last night and again today, if you have Rhino Shield, you don't much have to worry about the side of your house. Number one, it's waterproof, so whatever rain hits it is going to just bounce off. You don't have to worry about that. When we had that hail recently, the homes with vinyl siding got crushed. I mean, holes punched in the side of it. And the ones with Rhino Shield, it pretty much just bounced off. And my friend Darren has the pictures to prove that. So you've got a product that's 8 to 10 times thicker than regular paint. It hardens like a ceramic shield. It protects whatever's on the outside of your home. And you get a 25-year warranty. 25 years. You don't have to worry about going outside in the heat and scraping and painting or paying somebody else to do it every 4 or 5 years. You're fixed. You're covered. You get that warranty. You can transfer it to the next owner as well. Call Darren today. Let him give you a free evaluation on this beautiful product on your home, 877-25-RHINO, or online at 877-25rhino.com.
A weak White House, an invasion of illegals, and the woke mob attacking our values. That's what Phil Cristofanelli is fighting for Missouri's future. He supported sending the National Guard to secure the southern border. He defunded sanctuary cities. And Phil Cristofanelli backs the blue to keep our neighborhoods safe from gangs, fentanyl, and human traffickers. He's been named one of Missouri's most conservative legislators year after year. Cristofanelli stands up to the radical left and weak-kneed Republicans. Pro-life, he helped pass one of the nation's strongest anti-abortion laws and defunded Planned Parenthood. Pro-Second Amendment, he stood up for our gun owners and constitutional rights. And Cristofanelli is keeping men out of girls' sports and locker rooms. Phil Cristofanelli, an unwavering conservative for state senate.
Paid for by friends of Phil Cristofanelli, Dan Raker's treasurer.
Help if you want to sell your home as is. Help doesn't matter the condition it's in. Help if you want a simple sale with no agency fees. Claiming groups got you covered, no contingency. House a mess, roof damage, bad taxes, that's all okay. Make sure you remember to call Claiming Real Estate.
Let us help you. ClaimingGroup.com. KLAMEN Group.com.
Don't let a cold, sinus infection, or allergies ruin your day. Breathe easier, sleep better, and feel healthier with Navage. Visit Navage.com, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, or a store near you.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what you're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Just a quick correction, the Manny Fry Show. Welcome in. I'm Ryan Recker, filling in for Annie Fry on this Wednesday. Hello, boys.
Hello, Ryan. We are all men.
Yeah. Yesterday it was Brad, and Ryan. Now it's Ryan, and Brad.
It goes around the other way. Well, there's quite the stir at the studios here, so I get the opportunity to fill in once in a while, and I'm here at a station in Detroit, and in the building today is Hulk Hogan. So as you can imagine, there's a lot of people around wanting to get a view of the Hulkster. And I think Brad said I should go up to him and ask him to rip my shirt in half. So that would have been
That's
a fun
great
thing
suggestion.
to do.
I haven't heard that.
Wouldn't that be a great experience to, you walk around and you look like you just went, on a deserted island for a year. And, hey, why is your shirt ripped? Oh, yeah, well, I asked Hulk Hogan to do it for me. That would be the nice reversal. And I got to imagine he's been asked to do that in the past, but if not, that would be quite the thing. So we got so much that we're going to be covering here. And I got to tell you that I am just thrilled that I get this opportunity to do it with you. I don't even know where to start because there's just so much going on. We have a visit from Benjamin Netanyahu, and we know that Vice President Kamala Harris, who wants to be president of the United States, decided she's going to skip out on that. That seems pretty disrespectful, all things considered, if you want to be the leader of the country. And I think that sets the tone for what the platform of the Democrats are going to be. One of the big things that they talk about is that, hey, look at Kamala Harris's voting record when she was in the Senate. She was even further left than Bernie Sanders. She was the furthest left senator. And I think this goes to show you she's going to side with those that are out there chanting from the rivers to the sea. This should be a big wake-up call for, I think, any of the moderate Democrats out there that do support Israel, that this is the person that's going to be representing your party, and this is the tone they're going to be setting. And it seems like what Nancy Pelosi and some of these other politicians are going to skip out on it too. I remember, I want to say it was the last time Benjamin Netanyahu was here. Was it during the Obama administration? Unless I'm forgetting one. But he spoke to a joint session of Congress, and it was one of the best speeches. It was a fantastic speech.
I'm expecting something similar to that. And I've seen some opinion pieces that are saying, hey, if you're going to go up there, you got to tell the politicians in the United States it's a two-part solution, right? What's the two-piece solution? Two-state solution, yes. That's what he should make that argument. You can't just go out there and say you're going to give Hamas, a terrorist organization, all the leeway to continue to be terrorists. And I don't even know if a two-state solution is even possible at this point, because that's not what they want. But if you're Benjamin Netanyahu, I don't know what that message is going to be, but I think part of the message is, I'm very disappointed that people that want to be the leader of your country don't support Israel, one of your greatest allies.
Yeah, this is a weird move for Kamala Harris because this is an opportunity for her to do things a little differently, to say, hey, I'm going to separate myself now from Joe Biden and make a statement. This was the first opportunity for her to do that. And she's doing the opposite. She's actually painting herself into a corner because Donald Trump's already saying, look, she is more radical than Joe Biden even is. Well, this is the kind of thing a radical does, is skips out on a major meeting like this. And so not only is it a political miscalculation, but it is a surprise that not just on a presidential level, because it's not just is she looking presidential, but she's alienating. I mean, she's kind of in a tough spot, but she's going to alienate somebody. You got to pick who you're going to alienate, and she's chosen the wrong side.
Yeah, are we sure this is a political miscalculation, though? Because she seems to be full on leaning into that wing of her party. It is Democrats that have been out there, the more radical areas of Democrats that have been out there marching for Palestine and pro-Hamas even sometimes. It's been them that's been out there marching. And is she doing the political calculus, or is her campaign doing the political calculus where they look at it and they say, hey, there's more of these people than there are Jewish people, so we're going to pander to them instead of the Jewish people?
Well, part of what I thought was, is it possible that, the DNC convention's coming up? I'm sure they're worried about protests. Is this her way of trying to stop some of the anticipated protests outside of the convention?
I don't know. Possibly, but I'm really glad that you mentioned that, Ryan Recker, because Wiggins America today is all about the convention and being in Chicago. And I don't know if we lost you from the stream there, buddy. But,
I think so. Sorry.
But that's okay. We'll get you back in a second. But yeah, that's what we're going to talk about is the DNC, because the optics are a huge part of this. And the moves that Chicago / Brandon Johnson, the mayor of Chicago, are making right now, I don't know that you could cover up everything. Well, it's kind of a mess.
Yeah. But here's the thing, though, too, with that organization, that group of protesters, whenever you give them what they want, you don't get less protests, you get more.
That's true. That's very true.
So what I think, even if she's trying to pander to them, what she's going to do is embolden them, not, discourage them from protesting.
Are you? Let me read you another headline from the New York Post ahead of Benjamin Netanyahu's visit and address today. Says anti-Israel protesters claim to have unleashed maggots and crickets at Israeli delegation's hotel ahead of Netanyahu's speech. That's who you're dealing with. How do you have a rational conversation with anyone like that? Is it even possible?
Maggots and crickets. Now, are we talking about on a mass scale? Because I'm picturing them like unleashing a little matchbox and being like, ha ha ha, I've done it. Like, what was their move here?
I think their move is to make them as uncomfortable as possible. And, part of what they do is when they sing this, from the rivers to the sea or whatever it is, I think they actually equate to Jews this way. They look at them as maggots, right? They look at them as subhuman, kind of like during the Holocaust, you're looked at as subhuman. And that's what a lot of these protesters that are siding with the terrorist organization Hamas will do. And a lot of these politicians go out there and they'll sing the same slogans that these people sing. So I think it's totally a viable criticism that they are probably also feeling the same way about an entire class of people when it comes to Jews, which is very concerning that Kamala Harris, who's going to be the head of the Democratic Party, also signs with those people too. And if you were to ask her directly her thoughts on this sort of thing, I'm going to guess she's going to subvert that and not answer directly that she stands with Jewish people.
Right when October 7th happened, in the immediate aftermath of that last year, I was driving down 64 here. I think I was going into Illinois, and I saw somebody drive by with a license plate that said something around the license plate about pro-Palestine, and it was clearly not new. Like, you could tell that this was not a new thing. And it's a reminder that these kind of protests, whether it be this one, whether it be, some of the random protests that we have in this country now that you shake your head, you go, what is that? These things are not new. They've always happened. The difference is now entirely the Democrat leadership now embraces those movements. Now, they don't necessarily always fully bring them in, but they allow them space to speak, and they say, well, we need to respect the wishes of these crazy protesters in ways that we've never had before, and that's partially the media too, but I really think this one is Democrat leadership is allowing breathing room for a lot of these protests that would have just been completely thrown off the side before.
Okay, I'm going to give you an equivalent, and this is where I think this is partially the media as well. So if you remember back in the 2016 campaign, David Duke came forward and said, I support Donald Trump. And what happened to every interview Donald Trump gave? The person that asked them the questions, or the interviewer, would say, do you disavow the KKK support? Every single person. And guess what? Every time Donald Trump did. When a reporter or a journalist sits down with, let's say, a Kamala Harris or someone that is a representation of her, one of her surrogates in the future, you better believe they are told by their people, in order for you to talk to her, you're not allowed to ask about this. I not that I have any ability to hack into their emails to see what their demands are, but I can say this with 99% certainty. There are conditions based on these interviews because it's always been that MO with the Biden administration. So what if, let's say, back in 2016, they looked at, let's say, white supremacist vote to Donald Trump and tried to equate him to being a white supremacist, to say that, oh, these people support you, thus you are one. What are the odds that journalists are going to use a topic like this and then also put the same pressure on Kamala Harris? I'm going to say that it's close to 1% or less will actually bring this sort of thing up to her. And maybe they should bring this up to her. If you want to talk about fairness in media, maybe they should bring this up and say, I really need to hear you say that you don't want to see Jews eradicated from this world, because she will not just say it outright unless she's pressured to. And she might not even answer at that point if given direct access to that question.
Yeah, people don't do, Kamala won't do those interviews. I mean, whenever she does those interviews, Lester Holt's a great one, and Lester Holt's supposed to be a quote unquote Republican. I've never seen a whole lot from him that suggests that, but that would be one of the more mainstream kind of middle ground interviews she's ever done, and she totally botched it. So she's just not very good at those. Biden wasn't either. And to your point, Ryan, I think it was, things move so fast, I can't remember if this was last week or if this was 2 weeks ago now, but Joe Biden was doing interviews, I think this was just last week, with radio stations in...
It's a week before.
Was it the week before? In the Rust Belt. And we found out later that those interviews were, not only did they have the questions ahead of time,
right?
But they edited the interviews afterward to take things out that were unflattering to him. So, I mean, it's not just ahead of time like, hey, stay away from these subjects. It's like, here's your note card, read it, we'll edit it afterward.
Right. Can we play some clips from Kamala Harris? And by the way, the people that were conducting those interviews were fired, and rightfully so. If you are pre-screening, there's one thing to say, here's the scope of what the interview is going to be, meaning we want to just talk to you about certain things, but to give the exact question based on what the administration wants you to ask them, saying, here's the question in literal verbatim, what we want you to say to Joe Biden. And they say, okay, we agree to that. That is just so bad. And that's exactly what happened. They got fired for it once they got, found out about. So let's look at this one thing. So yesterday, I believe, and Michigan's one of those states, but some states have got the Democrats together to try to see if they have enough delegates to support Kamala Harris. Can we play clip number 2?
So, Wisconsin, I am told as of this morning that we have earned the support of enough delegates to secure the Democratic nomination.
Okay, so use the word earned. Did she earn it? Did she? I'm just curious.
Yeah, that's the way this works. She earned it. I don't know why you'd even question that. This is clearly the people's choice, Ryan.
Has Joe Biden officially released those delegates?
I think he said on Twitter, I mean, he's going to support her. I don't know.
Does that letter count? I mean, because it's my understanding that those delegates are pledged to the winner of the Democrat primary. Mm-hmm. And until that winner officially releases those delegates, they're bound to that Joe Biden. So I think it's just paperwork at this point. He's going to release them, but I'm just curious if he's released them yet or what's going on here.
So on a technicality, it's just basically what the party is saying, right? So they can say whatever they want. It's their pledge. It's more of a pledge than anything else. And then Kamala Harris took some time to hit on Donald Trump. Can we play clip 1?
So as Leah told you, before I was elected vice president, before I was elected United States Senator, I was elected Attorney General of the state of California, and I was a courtroom prosecutor before then. And in those roles, I took on perpetrators of all kinds. Predators who abused women, fraudsters who ripped off consumers, cheaters who broke the rules for their own gain. So hear me when I say, I know Donald Trump's type.
The interesting thing about this is, remember when Tulsi Gabbard ripped her apart for her prosecution of marijuana law, and her running on being, hey, I have history as a prosecutor, may backfire just a little bit there, because then they're going to also be reminded of what Tulsi Gabbard pointed out and completely embarrassed her on a stage. And who's to say Donald Trump won't do the same if they get a chance to debate? I don't think I've actually heard they're going to, but I hope that standing date will mean that those two are going to get at it.
What's weird is it's really one of the only things in her political history that's good, that she prosecuted crime. And the left hates that about her. That's incredible. We should take a step back and just acknowledge that is a good thing, to prosecute crime, and yet it's going to hurt her politically.
Well, part of the reason that it hurt her so bad whenever Gabbard went after her is she was doing things like hiding evidence to keep people from getting out. You needed to really fight to get exculpatory evidence out to get these actually innocent men.
It was all insider baseball in her office.
Yeah, it's terrible. Yeah. I mean, you want a prosecutor, but you want a prosecutor that's going to be just. So if somebody's innocent, they don't prosecute innocent people. But if somebody's guilty, they prosecute somebody that's guilty. And if something shows up that says, oh, we got this wrong, then you work as fast and as hard as you can to get it right and to make it right.
I don't think we mentioned the YouTube live chat poll. We better do that before we go to the first break. So if people are online watching this right now on YouTube, they have that chance to vote in the chat poll. What is the poll today?
Sure. Which of these will have the greatest impact on the 2024 presidential race? You have 4 choices: illegal immigration, economy, personality, or other. And you can comment in the chat there.
All right. Greatest impact on the presidential race. Oh boy, I think I have my favorite, or at least the one I think will probably be the favorite in this one. But you know what? I got to tell you, the last time I filled in last week, Ryan Wiggins, you said, I think this is the precursor to Joe Biden stepping down, the COVID diagnosis. You were so right, and I was wrong. I on the show last week, I said, you know what? Joe Biden is so old and stubborn. He is not going to, he's got a tight grip on that thing, and remember what Charlton Heston said during the RNC convention? It was from my cold, dead hands. I thought that's what Joe Biden was going to say to the presidency in running for the Democratic Party. That is not the case. I guess we'll hear from him tonight. He does have a live speech, Joe Biden does tonight, from the Oval Office. So that's a big one. Are you going to be airing that tonight?
Yeah, we'll be airing that tonight at 7 p.m. Central Time. So tune in to 97.1 to hear the president's remarks.
If it's on time. Now, we don't know if it is, but if it is on time. So this is, or it could be pre-recorded as far as we know. It'll be on time.
Hey, we'll be on time. So
right. If it starts right at the time they say it will be, then odds are it's pre-recorded.
Yeah.
When we come back, do you hear what Donald Trump said? He said that President Obama can't stand Joe Biden. I like this. All right, more beef here. The Clintons hate the Obamas hate the Clintons. Everybody hates the Bidens, it sounds like. I'm Ryan Ricker, filling in on 97.1 FM Talk.
If I had to live without you, what kind of life would that be?
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Fry Show.
Visit CassandSons.com for your next car purchase. If you're in the market right now or if you're dabbling, I know for me in my house, when you think, gosh, we might be looking to buy a car in another year, maybe 2, you want to be able to save, you want to be able to prepare for it, or you get into the situation that we did last October, got into a little accident, totaled the car, needed to buy one right away. Both situations, I shop at Cassand's & Sons, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram, and it's online at CassandSons.com. They have great prices on their vehicles. First and foremost, you need to know that when you go in there, you're going to get a great price, a very fair price on the vehicle. But you get that with people who you can trust. That matters so much to me because it's a big investment. It's going to hopefully last you a great amount of time. You want to feel like you're being sold quality and that the investment you're making in the car is a fair one. You get that at Cassand's with each and every purchase. They back it up. They have people who are selling cars there who've been doing it for years and years and years and years. Why not be their next customer? 618-800-2712. 618-800-2712, CassandSons.com.
If you have a problem with the IRS, believe me, it's not going away on its own. The IRS never gives up. They have endless resources so they control the game. Well, your tax problems can end. I'm attorney Lance Drury with the Drury Law Firm, a local tax resolution firm with an A-plus rating from the Better Business Bureau. I've handled thousands of IRS cases over the last 15 years. So when you hire me, you won't be speaking long distance or sending money to some TV pitchman that's riddled with consumer complaints. Your first visit is completely free and confidential, and I'll tell you on the spot exactly how much it will cost. So call me, Lance Drury, at 314-260-6120. That's 314-260-6120. Or go to Lance, D-R-U-R-Y, law.com. If you have IRS issues, you need a local attorney. You need me, Lance Drury.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Hey, this is Lisa Stofan. Heard the Mark Patrick weight loss hypnosis hype? Well, I attended because my father stopped smoking with hypnosis. Hypnosis eliminated my desire for soda and fast food, made me want to exercise, and I lost 60 pounds in 6 months. My energy level exploded. I went to another session to deal with some other problem foods, and I lost another 10 pounds. In fact, I brought my husband, and he lost weight, and his cholesterol and blood pressure improved. My friend lost 20 pounds her first 2 months.
Join Mark Patrick seminars and lose weight or stop smoking guaranteed. Early bird special only $49.99. Hypnosis designed to destroy unwanted cravings, late day eating binges, boredom eating, stress eating. That's right. Seminars Tuesday, August 13th at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites St. Louis Airport in St. Louis, and Wednesday, August 14th at the 4 Points by Sheraton St. Louis Fairview Heights in Fairview Heights. Weight loss seminar 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking seminar 8 p.m. Sign up at markpatrickseminars.com. That's markpatrickseminars.com.
Okay, I'm ready to record my jewelry store's new radio spot. I got a great script that really goes after Diamonds Direct and how they're nothing special and how we can match their price. Great stuff.
Oh, great. We have this new technology that bleeps out any false claims, so it saves us time with editing. So you can start anytime.
Okay, here goes. When you visit our jewelry store, we'll guarantee direct. Our diamonds come straight. We have cutters. And, hey, what the?
The hard truth is that other jewelry stores simply can't do what Diamonds Direct can. Diamonds Direct has special relationships with De Beers, international connections, and virtually unlimited buying power. The result is true direct importer pricing, exceptional quality, and up to 30 times the diamond selection you find at other stores.
I can't believe this thing won't let me say...
Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion. Get more truth at diamondsdirect.com, official partner of the St. Louis Blues.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Get in your comfort zone with a free home safety package on a new HVAC system. That's an almost $800 value for free. For details and a free estimate, visit aircomfortservice.com.
It's what's happening.
The argument now is Harris versus Trump.
Right now.
Kamala Harris, who has been working with him, has repeatedly said that Joe Biden is physically fit.
97.1 FM Talk. This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Fry Show.
Welcome back. I'm Ryan Recker, filling in. All right, the YouTube live chat poll. Which of these will have the greatest impact on the 2024 presidential race? illegal immigration, the economy, personality, or other? Leave a comment for that one. Go vote now. We'll put the results at the end of the show. Does it surprise you that perhaps the Obamas hate the Bidens? Does that surprise you at all? To me, it's just a little surprising, right? Because they were running mates, they worked together. But does it also show you that, I guess, the Democratic Party, in a way, or maybe this is all of politics, it's just all a lie? You put on a smile, you put on a happy face, and you pretend to like things you don't. And that's what politics is all about. But I think that if you truly hated someone, then you wouldn't go out there and pretend like you're best buddies.
Yeah, it does surprise me a little bit, although it is all politics because the McCains and the Bushes hate Trump. It's all politics. The next person that comes along is going to be disliked, most likely. But you're right. This is the same administration. So it does surprise you a little bit that they dislike each other so much. But Kamala and Biden are supposed to be mortal enemies too. So this whole process, even the speech tonight, it all feels very manufactured.
I feel like the Biden-Obama drama is kind of like Barack Obama feels like he made Joe Biden's career. Like Joe Biden was just going to be an obscure senator who was there forever. And he feels like, well, I elevated him to this position and he's a complete screw up. And then Joe Biden is like any other person that has amassed a lot of power. He's like, hey, you didn't make me. I made me. I'm made man, Jack. And he resents Obama's resentment. And so they hate one another because of that.
There could be some of that going on. Maybe that Obama feels like I laid this up to you on a silver platter and you screwed it up so bad that, let's say, the polling comes out. Remember when the polling came out and said Michelle Obama's polling better than Joe Biden? And I guess a Barack would probably look at that and say, after everything I gave you, still the non-politician first lady would beat you. This is ridiculous. So that's how unpopular Joe Biden's been. I haven't checked his popularity rating lately. Has there been one in the recent weeks? I should probably see where his approval rating's sitting right now. I'm guessing it's still in the mid-30s where it's been sitting for a long time.
Yeah, I don't think that's moved. It was in the mid, like 33 to 36. Historically low, terribly low.
Yeah. But no, he's sharp as a tack and truly loved within his party that everyone was rallying around until they didn't, and all the delegates jumped ship as fast as they could. All right, so there could be a challenge on that. There also could be a challenge on the funding, the money that came in. But I think the greatest appeal of Kamala Harris was, hey, we can transfer all this money over fairly quickly, launder it from one candidate to another. I don't think it was so much about using Kamala Harris in the training ground, meaning that her role as vice president was meant to train her to take a higher office. Let's see, president of the United States. I don't think that was the case at all. I think really it's just perhaps the easiest thing to do this close to the election because they really can't figure out a way to do this smoothly with anyone else. So they just have to do it this way. And the Democrats realize that through their hatred of Donald Trump, that, you know what, they better put on that smile and pretend they really like her. And they better pretend they don't hate her laugh until you hear that over and over and over again. Can we play that clip from Donald Trump about the Obamas hating Biden? I think this is clip number 4, I believe. Yeah, clip 4.
First of all, Obama hates Biden, and Biden hates Obama. And when Obama walked Biden out a couple of weeks ago off the stage, he didn't have to do that. He could have let him wave to the people a little bit longer. I don't know if Joe knew who he was waving to, but he was waving. And all of a sudden, Obama comes along, grabs him. Come on, Joe. Like he was a child. It made him look so bad. And I know people with Biden. I know people with Obama. And they were not happy about that. It made him look really bad, like a child. Like a child. They don't like each other.
Okay. We're talking about, that moment in L.A. when they're doing that big fundraiser with celebrities. Now, keep in mind, they try to spin that, the Democrats saying, oh, there's nothing weird about this, that a old senile man needed help off the stage because he probably didn't know what was going on. And they had to escort him out, much like they would someone at a nursing home. I think that everyone saw that and they came to that same conclusion. So it shouldn't be too shocking what Donald Trump is saying there when it comes to Obama helping off the stage. Do you think that, okay, what would it take, let's say, for some of these types to fully turn their back on Joe Biden? Meaning, let's say Kamala Harris loses, Donald Trump's in office. Would they finally start talking trash about just how terrible this administration was? Will they use that as the springboard to move forward? Or do you think they're going to revere them on the highest pedestal forever because they just want to keep playing this game?
Oh, no, that book's already been written. That book is written now. Actually,
It's just waiting to be published.
Yeah, they're just adding a couple chapters to it at the end here because they're like, oh, we didn't expect this and that. But yeah, that book is waiting to be published by insiders because it is a disaster, and they all knew that Joe Biden was going to lose. I think we're going to have a week or so, maybe a couple until the DNC, where they think, oh, maybe Kamala's got a chance, But I'm sure we're going to talk about polling later because it's on the show sheet, and all of us have been following this. But I can't wait to talk about polling because it's not what you think it is, and it's definitely not the headlines you've seen in the last couple of days.
Right. I mentioned this on Twitter, and I think you saw this, Wiggins. I wish WikiLeaks was still around. Could you imagine all the trove of information we could be reading about right now if WikiLeaks would just do a dump on the Biden administration? I want to see it so bad, the behind the scenes of what's going on here. This has been the least transparent administration that I can imagine, or can think of, I should say. And to figure out that, hey, yeah, behind the scenes, they are looking at this in full panic mode. I just want a full confirmation of the truth. I just want to stop hearing the lies from the Democratic Party that everything's okay and everything's great. I want to see it for what it is and the truth of what's going on, because I'm just getting tired of this nonsense. They look at Joe Biden as the sharpest person in the room. I just want to see them for who they are, to finally admit the truth as opposed to what they're telling in front of cameras, which are lies.
Yeah, it's amazing, Ryan, like we said, though, that they've tried so hard to conceal so much, but all of it seems to be coming out. And I say all of it, assuming there's not any more. There probably is a lot more. But the things that we know, they tried to conceal his dementia for 4 years. And then the debate happened, and they said, well, I guess the cat's out of the bag. I guess we can't really do that anymore. And they tried to conceal some of their business problems and the money they were receiving from overseas. Shoot, the president's son left a laptop and now everybody sees it. Like, all this stuff they've tried to conceal. They've started numerous shell companies to launder money. It's all out in the open. They tried using the deep state to protect them. IRS whistleblowers came out and told Congress, over and over and over, they've tried to bury all of their misdeeds, and they keep coming out.
Well, even after the debate, they were trying to say, this is just one night. It was just a bad night. He just had a bad night.
He had a cold.
They tried, he had a cold. He was jet lagged from the trip that was 12 days prior to. Yeah. They said all of those things, and then Biden went on his redemption tour and crapped the bed again.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, the jig is up. We're done. This is over.
I think Greg Gutfeld said it best, but basically he said the media wasn't angry that the president of the United States, the person that they've been covering for, was acting the way they did. They were angry that the people, finally got a chance to see what they already knew, because they were covering for them for so long. It almost became second nature for them to come up with excuses for them. I think that's exactly what happened. A lot of people woke up and figured out what was up there, and will continue to do that. All right, we have Wiggins America coming up here in a couple of minutes. These are always super awesome segments, and I know that we'll probably talk about some other things throughout the course of the show. Don't forget to go vote on the YouTube live chat poll. Which of these have the greatest impact on the 2024 presidential race? Illegal immigration, economy, personality, or other? Leave a comment for that one. I'm Ryan Recker, filling in on 97.1 FM Talk.
Listening to The Annie Fry Show on St. Louis's home for conservative talk. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
shopping for a home, you're going to need to shop for a mortgage. Might be a little bit of an afterthought, but then when you start to find, this is the house that we want or this is the neighborhood we want, you start to think more about that mortgage. And you need to make a good decision when you go to get your mortgage. It's a big loan and it's probably going to last for a few decades. So you want to make the right choice. Stewart's American Mortgage, or my friend Stewie, better known as Stewie, he's got a bagel loan. Only place you can get a bagel loan is with Stewart's American Mortgage. And let me tell you why the bagel loan is such a smart move. When you go to acquire your mortgage, you pay no closing costs with the bagel loan. You do not inquire any of those fees. You do not have to pay any closing costs. He takes care of all of it for you. And if you want to know the dirty details about all of it, it's really pretty simple and it's really, really smart. And Stewie will explain all of it to you. 314-324-4440, 314-324-4440. Google the bagel loan to find out more. NMLS number 226715.
Mark Cox here. Did you know the Rockwood School District is a great place to work? They're currently hiring school bus drivers, cafeteria workers, and custodial staff, as well as summer positions for mowers and landscapers. They have openings in Adventure Club, which is before and after school care. They offer competitive pay, flexible work hours, and a rewarding work environment. Discover the Rockwood Advantage and join an amazing team. Go to rsdmo.org/jobs. That's rsdmo.org/jobs.
Sick of those annoying ads slowing you down online? Introducing i3 Broadband's 100% fiber optic network with advanced whole home Wi-Fi. With speeds up to 8 gigabits, buffering is so yesterday. Our rock-solid connection keeps you streaming, gaming, and browsing without a hitch, thanks to our ad blocking feature. No contracts, no hidden fees, just pure internet bliss. And we've got a no-risk 30-day money-back guarantee. Dial 877-976-0711 or swing by i3broadband.com/STL. We're local, reliable, and committed to St. Louis.
Are you ready to shape the future? Missouri is crafting its master plan on aging, and we want to hear from you. Visit health.mo.gov/aging to share your thoughts, ideas, and concerns. We can create a vibrant, inclusive future for all generations.
At Stifel, we put everything into the success of our advisors so they can put everything into your success. That means more than just building you a portfolio. It means we're invested in you and your future. And it means taking a personalized approach to managing your wealth. That's why Stifel is once again the top-ranked wealth management firm for employee advisor satisfaction. Stifel, where success meets success.
Stifel Nicholas & Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE. For J.D. Power 2024 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards.
I'm Tim Fitch, former councilman and police chief in St. Louis County, and I've seen firsthand how politicians have failed us. When I was on the county council, I saw Democrat Sam Page bail out Ernie Tracus from a sexual harassment claim using $60,000 of your taxpayer money. Tracus has been paying back liberal Sam Page ever since. Even the Post-Dispatch called Ernie Tracus Page's Republican ally on the council. I even witnessed Tracus try to defund our police. It's time for someone to stand up for you, not Sam Page's liberal agenda. On August 6th, vote conservative Republican Mike Archer for county council. Mike Archer supports law enforcement and has earned the endorsement of the St. Louis County Police Officers Association. Mike Archer, a small business owner, will cut red tape and support local businesses so they can thrive. He believes in fiscal responsibility and lower taxes. Mike stands for our Second Amendment rights, defending our families and our homes. It's time for change in St. Louis County. On August 6th, vote conservative Republican Mike Archer for county council.
I'm Mike Archer, and I approve this message paid for by Archer for county council, James Murphy, treasurer.
Well, a lot has changed in the last even few days. So the YouTube live chat poll today reflects the issues. We're getting back to this. Has this changed? We've talked about this before. Which of these will have the greatest impact on the 2024 presidential race? Illegal immigration, which is, of course, very much tied to Kamala Harris, the economy, personality, or other. And if it's other, leave a comment as to which of those issues you think it's going to be that's not illegal immigration, economy, or personality. That is the YouTube live chat poll. You get there by typing Annie Fry into YouTube, and it'll come up. You can watch the stream there as well as we do the show today until 3/12/43 right now. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
JerryKelly.com. We're here to help you get registered to vote, whether you're in Missouri or Illinois. Democracy 2024 on 97.1 FM Talk. If you need help getting registered, go to 971talk.com/vote. The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe. Interact with Annie on Facebook. The Annie Fry Show.
Where it began, I can't begin to knowing, but then I know.
Welcome back. I'm Ryan Recker filling in. You can find me online, Ryan Recker Radio on Facebook or at Ryan Recker on Twitter. Go vote in that YouTube poll. But whenever I get to fill in, I really much enjoy this segment. It's with Wiggins.
Yeah, so the DNC, the Democrat National Convention, will be in a couple weeks, and the speculation was, we're going to have an open primary, and this is the headline news of the day, that the Rules Committee for the Democratic National Convention will meet Wednesday, as in today, to formalize the nomination process for the presidential nominee, which is going to be Kamala Harris. That's my editorial add to this. The article doesn't say that. All of this comes less than a month from the start of the DNC in Chicago. And as we were speculating, it does look like they're not going to have any floor votes or anything. By the time we actually see the presentation, it will all be done because 2 weeks from today is August 7th. They're going to have the roll call vote done by then. So we will have an official DNC or a Democrat nominee sometime probably before August 7th. So there's your headline.
That's because of the deadline in Ohio?
Yeah, it has to do with making sure she gets on the ballot in Ohio mainly because it was barely going to miss the deadline. So it's that stuff. But they had talked about delaying it anyway. I think Ohio is going to play ball with them, but whatever. So it's going to be in Chicago in less than a month. It's going to be headline news, just like we just did the RNC all week last week. We'll be covering the DNC that week. And I wanted to dig in, Ryan Recker, into a few stories that may actually be running parallel to whatever's happening on the stage. You ready for these?
Sure. I have one parallel before you start, if you don't mind. The Democrats will show up to Chicago and they'll say, those anti-Israel protesters unleashed maggots and crickets in the hotels here too. And they'll say, no, that's just what happens in Chicago.
Those are just
Chicago. That's the only parallel right now. Yeah. No, that's just Chicago.
Yeah,
it probably wasn't protesters.
We just left a roast chicken in the trash can too long, so we got maggots. That's just what happens. Actually, that is not one of the stories, surprisingly, and it has nothing to do because the protesters, the anti-Israel protesters, could very much be a part of this, but that's not one of my stories. So I'm glad you brought that one up. How about this one?
Okay.
Ahead, and this is from the Chicago Sun-Times, so I'm doing a lot of local news here. Ahead of the DNC, Brandon Johnson is putting homeless people back on the street to make room for different homeless people.
What?
Yeah.
Wait, so I don't understand. So the homeless that are there are privileged, so they need to get a privilege check?
So I'll read it to you, and then I'll explain if it doesn't come across. Mayor Brandon Johnson's administration is putting unhoused people, I like that they're being politically correct, unhoused people back on the streets to make room for relocated tent encampment occupants who are being moved before the Democrat National Convention next month. So if you can read between the lines here, what's happening is anybody who is homeless near where the DNC is going to be, they're getting moved. Well, to do that, they have to kick other homeless people out of homeless shelters to put the new homeless people in them.
He's like a 14-year-old cleaning his room. Just stuff everything in the closet and close the door.
Yes.
Well, they're going to have to. You're smart. Hey, homeless people, if you're smart, go from the shelter and just set up camp by the DNC because they'll put you right back in that shelter. You just have to relocate yourself.
Exactly.
And then relocate you in a shelter.
Yeah. More than a half dozen people told the Chicago Sun-Times that they were thrown out or fear they're about to be ejected from a shelter in a former hotel off the Magnificent Mile as city officials begin to clear a highly visible tent city abutting the Dan Ryan Expressway. So there you go. There's your first one. If you're curious as to how the city's going to handle the DNC, it really reminds you of when Governor Gavin Newsom of Chicago cleaned up California ahead of the president or the dictator of China showing up.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot. Oh, that's exactly what it is. The dictator of the DNC is coming to town. You got to clean things up.
That's right, because she was not selected. She was selected. She wasn't elected. All right, the next one.
Yeah,
based on that, Just another problem that may be cropping up here in the next couple weeks. This is from the Chicago Tribune. Chicago leaders brace for as many as 25,000 new migrants ahead of the DNC. We just need to be prepared, is what the headline says. Chicago is bracing for as many as 25,000 illegal immigrants. I said illegal immigrants. The article says migrants. So, Sorry about that. To arrive by bus ahead of the Democrat National Convention by August 19th. The high-end estimate from Deputy Mayor of Immigration Beatrice Ponce de Leon came as Mayor Brandon Johnson's administration defended its policy of evicting migrants who stay in city shelters longer than 60 days. The reason that this is happening, do you know why this is happening? 25,000 new illegal immigrants might be showing up in Chicago, Ryan Recker?
Well, is it to have maybe Texas is saying, you know what, we got another busload or two coming your way? Is it perhaps something that's relocated them because of that?
Yeah, here's the quote from Governor Greg Abbott of Texas. Quote, "Those buses will continue to roll until we finally secure our border."
That's right.
I love it.
He is sending
Roll it, boys.
not even all. He's sending a portion of the new illegal immigrants who come across the border right now to Chicago just to make sure that the Democrats know what they're causing. I mean, this is a tiny portion of the people coming across the border that are going to be in Chicago, and it's going to create mass problems for Chicago.
This is, I think the people of Chicago hate this, but you know what I noticed too? This is kind of interesting. It seems, I don't know how prepared Chicago is for this. So one of the local stories here in Detroit was that the Michigan State Police were asked to help with crowd control for the Republican National Convention in Wisconsin. So they were in Milwaukee, and normally they put a request out, hey, we need some extra people. Can you mind sending a few? And then, all these different states respond, and they decide to do it. They noted that Chicago didn't ask for help. So if that's the case, if they're going to handle it themselves, they may be way understaffed. Actually, probably more understaffed than a field in Pennsylvania where the former president was, very, very much understaffed when it came to the Secret Service protection that should have been afforded to him to begin with. So I think the DNC is going to have some major issues if they're talking about tens of thousands of extra people coming for this.
This is a solid strategy. It's not as if this is new. They're just saying, why don't we go send them to Chicago for now instead of to other places? Because, as we've noted, that Kamala Harris was made the border czar by the Obama administration. And if you're on the left and you hear me say that and you say, no, she was not made the border czar, well, then you haven't been paying attention to what's come out this morning, that multiple outlets, when that happened, reported that she was the border czar, quote, unquote. Axios said it among other outlets. And now they're trying to say, the same outlet is now trying to say, well, border czar isn't the term that they use. Well, it's the term you used. So
I think she prefers minister of the border.
Sure, whatever it is. But I think they've got to do this because they have to make sure that this issue, because it just kind of keeps being swept under the rug. Like even when we talk about this issue, it's no smaller deal today than it was last week or the last time it was a headline news story. It is still a huge news story. It's still happening, and nothing's being done about it. So it's hard to continue to report, well, things are still bad, because that's what would be the report.
Well, listen, if things were so bad, I think I would hear about it on the news more.
Yeah, exactly. Well, sorry that the president almost being shot took precedent for a little while, or the Democrat nominee for president, who is currently the president, dropped out of the race, and it's not making news for a little while.
So how much effort did she put into the border before she became the nominee, and how much effort will she put in after, and is it equal?
Yeah. If you think
probably equal.
That's another thing. Speaking of all the homeless issues and all these things, we mentioned it yesterday. Ryan Recker, I think it was Brad Young filling in yesterday. We talked about the homeless issue. It's worse in every city, and not just downtowns of cities. We're talking about suburbs. It is now in areas. The homeless problem has gotten so bad in areas where it never was before. And my question to you is, if you're a voter, do you think that problem is going to get better under 4 years of Vice President Kamala Harris, or do you think that problem is just going to get worse? I don't know what Trump's going to be able to do about it. He's going to do something, but she's going to make it worse. Where the problems you're experiencing now, double them in 4 years.
Yeah.
I heard there was a new strategy at the southern border, and this is just a rumor. Sometimes I see these on social media, and I don't know if they're true. They were going to set up speakers and then play her cackle on a loop to discourage people from crossing the line. Do you think that'll work?
I don't know. I guess we'll have to see. I haven't seen that one. Before we get to the top,
might have just made that up.
Yeah, I'm like, we'll see. Like that sound that they're supposed to play that's called the brown noise that people have said, I don't know if that's actually real. The military has something called the brown noise, and people are like, no, they don't.
I think South Park did that, and that's
Exactly. Last one before we get to the top here, regarding the DNC in Chicago. Now, this one was a couple weeks ago, but I thought, since we're here, might as well bring it up. This is from Fox News. Dem mayor, as in Brandon Johnson, blasted for ridiculously blaming deceased GOP president for deadly July 4th weekend gun violence. Have you seen this?
I maybe.
The op-ed that was written by the New York Post about this is in regards to, 100 people were injured and 19 people were killed by getting shot in Chicago over July 4th weekend. It's big enough. Now, that stuff happens all the time, but that was a high number.
Yeah.
And so Brandon Johnson, the mayor, had to address it. And so in addressing it, he blamed Richard Nixon.
Why? Why do people put up with this nonsense? Like, he's lying to you to your face, and he thinks you're stupid. I'm going to just say Richard Nixon, that Republican, it's his fault. And that'll be good enough.
The logic? Why do you say that?
Okay, so in his logic, he says, well, this started because the civil rights movement wasn't allowed to proceed in the right way because of Richard Nixon.
Oh, I wouldn't say that.
So,
I wouldn't say that at all. Actually, that is not historically accurate at all. By the way.
Well, hey, you're preaching to the choir here.
Right.
But
Ryan's running through his...
Wait a minute. That doesn't even make any sense, though. Yeah, Richard Nixon, the op-ed says, Richard Nixon didn't shoot 109 and kill 19 in Chicago, Brandon Johnson, says this op-ed in the New York Post, which I thought really summed it up well. And there you go. That's what you're going to experience, maybe just a little taste of it during the DNC. Why they picked Chicago, I have no idea, but they did.
Celebratory gunfire after they nominate Kamala Harris officially. Perhaps the reason why they can do that and get away with it. Got another couple hours of the Andy Fry Show. I'm Ryan Recker filling in. Don't go anywhere. 97.1 FM Talk.
Sweet Caroline.
The Missouri Republicans trust Bill Eigel. President Trump doesn't. President Trump criticized Eigel for deceiving voters by using his image in campaign ads. Trump even threatened legal action against Eigel. Why does President Trump oppose Bill Eigel? It's because Eigel's campaign is bankrolled by the same rich liberals who are funding ads that attack Trump's record and character. Bill Eigel is a dishonest politician who is bought and paid for by never-Trumpers. There's a better choice. Conservative Republican Mike Kehoe is a businessman and job creator. Kehoe has a bold plan to provide relief to Missouri families who are getting crushed by Biden's inflation. As our governor, Mike Kehoe will eliminate the state income tax to put more money back in your pocket. Mike Kehoe is the conservative Republican we can trust.
Cops for Kehoe is responsible for the content of this advertising, paid for by Cops for Kehoe, and is not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee.
If your credit card bills have gotten out of hand, call Consolidated Credit now. If the interest rates on your credit cards are so high, it'll take years to get out of debt. Call Consolidated Credit now. They've helped over 10 million people without destroying your credit. They can reduce your interest rates, lower your total payments up to 50% to get you out of debt fast. For a free consultation, call Consolidated Credit now. The program works.
Call 800-210-4298. 800-210-4298. 800-210-4298.
Consolidated Credit Solutions Incorporated, 5701 West Sunrise Boulevard, Fort Lauderdale, Florida 33313. Licensed by the New York Department of Financial Services and by the Vermont Department of Financial Regulation. Kansas CSO 0019051. Maryland DM 1492. Oregon DM 892. Licensed by the Virginia State Corporation Commission, license number DC83. Service may adversely affect the individual's credit. Non-payment of debt may lead to additional finance charges or collections activity, including legal action. Actual interest rates, length of program, and monthly payment reductions will vary by consumer and creditor. Yours could be higher or lower. Not a loan company. We do not lend money.
I was having a lot of sinus infections. My sinuses were
are clogged, pressure, headaches.
Linda suffered for years with chronic sinus infections.
You don't feel like doing anything. When you feel like your head is completely clogged, all you want to do is just lay down and sleep. And the pressure, it's just not fun, always walking around with a headache.
Now, her issues are gone. How? A minimally invasive procedure done in the office of St. Louis Sinus Centers called balloon sinuplasty.
I really did not know what it was like to feel like you're really breathing and not being so clogged up. I would do it again in a heartbeat, and I would definitely recommend it for someone else.
Do you suffer with chronic sinus infections, facial pain, pressure, congestion? Find out if balloon sinuplasty is the solution for you. Set an appointment today with St. Louis Sinus Centers. Call 314-332-2885. 314-332-2885. That's 314-332-2885.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studio.
That's GetJim.com.
97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This shooter didn't succeed. I'm Chris Foster, Fox News. The FBI director says Thomas Crooks looked up details of President Kennedy's assassination, specifically how far away was Oswald from Kennedy, at the third House hearing in 3 days about the Trump assassination attempt.
FBI Director Christopher Wray says the FBI is determined to get to the bottom of the assassination attempt on former President Trump.
But we're going to leave no stone unturned. The shooter may be deceased, but the FBI's investigation is very much ongoing.
Wray says the assassination attempt is an example of a heightened threat environment he's been warning Congress about for several months. The director confirming to lawmakers the shooter, Thomas Crooks, flew a drone around the site of the rally the day of the shooting. On Capitol Hill, Ryan Schmelz, Fox News.
Former President Trump campaigns in Charlotte, North Carolina today. Vice President Harris in Indianapolis at the annual national gathering of Zeta Phi Beta. It's a historically African-American sorority.
I know the leaders in this room, and I know the future we believe in and we fight for.
And that event has her skipping an address starting now from Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to a joint meeting of Congress, usually attended by vice presidents who also serve as president of the Senate. Dozens of Democrats are boycotting the event over Israel's conduct fighting the war against Hamas in Gaza. Massachusetts House Democrat Ayanna Pressley.
The United States must immediately halt the transfer and sales of offensive weapons to the state of Israel. We must put an end to this unjust war. We must stop the genocide.
They are so afraid of the pro-Hamas, pro-Palestinian part of their party that they don't even want to show up for Netanyahu's speech to our Congress.
Florida House Republican Greg Steube on Fox Business. President Biden addresses the nation at 8 p.m. Eastern about his decision to drop out of the race and endorse Vice President Harris. America's listening to Fox News.
The doctor's office that accidentally mixed up your files has your social security number. The power company that mistakenly cut your service has your payment info. And the hotel that lost your reservation has your passport number. You need LifeLock because your personal info is in endless places that can expose you to identity thieves. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points every second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed or your money back. Save up to 40% with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Hi, I'm Angie Hicks, co-founder of Angie. When you use Angie for your home projects, you know all your jobs will be done well. Roof repair? Done well. Kitchen sink install? Done well. Deck upgrades? Done well. Electrical upgrade? Done well. Angie's been connecting homeowners with skilled pros for nearly 30 years, so we know the difference between done and done well. Hire high-quality, certified pros at Angie.com.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Partly sunny skies. Nothing extreme with our heat, but this is the hottest afternoon of the week. 90 degrees, moderate humidity, maybe a couple of little pop-up thunderstorms. Tough to find. Tonight, clear skies. 80s this evening, 72 for the low on Thursday. Partly sunny, some spot afternoon storms, 87. Friday, sunny, also 87. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Are you the decision maker in your company? Consider this. For the first time in decades, there's a better option for a corporate card and spend management platform. Meet Ramp, the only corporate card and spend management system designed to help you spend less money so you can make more. With Ramp, you get full visibility into your company's spending and control who spends what with each vendor. Ramp software collects and verifies receipts instantly to save your team valuable time. Ramp automates data entry and routine tasks with automated approvals, expense categorization and bill payments, time-consuming tasks. Which means you'll stop wasteful spending and close your books in hours instead of days. Businesses that use Ramp add up to 5% to their bottom line the first year. If you're a decision maker, adding Ramp could be one of the best decisions you've ever made. Get $250 when you join Ramp for free. Just go to ramp.com/free. Ramp.com/free. RAMP.com/free.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank and Celtic Bank, members, FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.
A weak White House, an invasion of illegals, and the woke mob attacking our values. That's what Phil Cristofanelli is fighting for Missouri's future. He supported sending the National Guard to secure the southern border. He defunded sanctuary cities. And Phil Cristofanelli backs the blue to keep our neighborhoods safe from gangs, fentanyl, and human traffickers. He's been named one of Missouri's most conservative legislators year after year. Cristofanelli stands up to the radical left and weak-kneed Republicans. Pro-life, he helped pass one of the nation's strongest anti-abortion laws and defunded Planned Parenthood. Pro-Second Amendment, he stood up for our gun owners and constitutional rights. And Cristofanelli is keeping men out of girls' sports and locker rooms. Phil Cristofanelli, an unwavering conservative for state senate.
Paid for by friends of Phil Cristofanelli, Dan Raker's treasurer.
Just imagine being walked all over for 36 years. Who would do that? The great customers of Reinhold Flooring, that's who. For over 3.5 decades, Reinhold Flooring has been the mecca for carpet, hardwood, vinyl, laminate, and area rugs. Reinhold Flooring is customer-driven with a focus on top-quality products and installations from the best team in the business. So come on in and walk all over your next flooring at Reinhold Flooring. Visit them at 5429 Telegraph Road in St. Louis or online at reinholdflooring.com.
I can see clearly now thanks to the doctors at Ophthalmology Associates. Doctors Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, Andy Royer, and introducing Samuel Berry. You can too. Call 314-966-5000 or check out youridoc.com. That's youridoc.com.
Mark Cox here. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how to link to the market without the risk. They're the official financial advisors of my show. Go online to retirementkey.com.
It's what's happening.
And she is going to be the next president of the United States.
Right now.
Director Cheadle, I don't think she should resign. I think she should have been fired.
Keeping you informed.
Ma'am, you are a DEI horror story.
97.1 FM Talk.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Oh, boy. All right. Welcome back. I'm Ryan Recker. Filling in. You can find me online, Ryan Recker Radio. We do have the YouTube live chat poll up right now. Ryan Wiggins, what can people vote on?
Which of these will have the greatest impact on the 2024 presidential race? Number 1, illegal immigration. Number 2, economy. Number 3, personality. Or number 4, whatever else you think it might be. That would be other. And then let us know what that is in the comments.
Okay. All right. Looking forward to hearing the results of that one. So there's been a task force put together to investigate the Trump assassination attempt. Bipartisan, Speaker Mike Johnson and Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries from New York announcing a bipartisan task force to investigate this that happened not that long ago. It's just a couple of weeks ago, this assassination attempt. Okay, let's look into this. So the report that they would put together, are you confident that they will get all the answers they need? Because I've seen some of this testimony from Cheadle, and she didn't give any answers. I mean, it was pathetic, the display that we saw there. Zero transparency of what's going on. Do you think this is all for show because they have to do it, or do you think they'll actually uncover something?
I don't think they're going to uncover anything. They've been questioning FBI Director Christopher Wray today. He has said some things we didn't know, about the shooter's internet search history and things. So it's good to see that there's some information coming out. But this is all just kind of, I'll tell you this. When I realized that Fox News was covering this live today, I thought this is very important, and I am not interested in it because I just didn't think that anything was going to happen, and I still don't.
Whenever I look at this whole situation, and as I've had time to digest what happened and how things are going down and the stuff that's coming out, one of the phrases that keeps popping back into my mind is never attribute malice to what can be easily explained by incompetence. And I think what we're finding out is that this was a massive failure, and this is more example of incompetence in that position than anything malicious or anything like. I don't think there was some sort of subterraneous plot to make it easy to have Donald Trump assassinated or anything like that. I've seen all of the conspiracy theories out there. I've seen a lot of them. I don't buy it. I think that this is easily explained by incompetence and laziness and a lack of attention to detail. Some of the stuff I saw about actually I was listening to Josh Hawley talk about this. He was talking about the roof, the sloped roof. He said there was supposed to be people on that roof. They weren't on there. It was hot, and so they were supposed to be stationed outside the building. Well, they weren't outside the building because they went inside because it was hot, and they were inside in the air conditioning. It's stuff like that, attention to detail, having all your bases covered, looking at all these. They identified that area as a threat area, and they just didn't do anything about it.
Let me challenge one thing on that and see what you think about this. So we've learned that this is what happened after the fact. You just kind of give a quick timeline. Donald Trump came out and said, we requested more Secret Service agents. Then they came out and they said, well, no, he didn't request that. Well, actually, that's turned out to be a lie because we find out that from all the events he's been hosting for the past couple of years, he's requested over and over and over and over more Secret Service, and he's denied. So he's been requesting this for a long time. So do you think perhaps, and this is why you talk about malice, do you think the denial of extra Secret Service agents is because they hate Donald Trump? And if that's the case, is this more than just incompetence? So the reason I say that is because this was brought up during the testimony too. They didn't have a problem putting extra Secret Service on anyone else on the Democratic side, including Jill Biden, who is in front of 400 people inside of a casino that's already heavily guarded. They gave her all the extra she wanted. They'll give anyone they want extra. But when it came to Donald Trump, they denied, would not give him extra Secret Service protection. So to me, that says there is some malice there because they just hate the guy.
Well, I would say that, but if you looked at how they treated RFK Jr., they didn't give him any Secret Service. Yeah. I mean, it's consistent across the board. Now, I don't know if it's specific malice, if it's just like, hey, we don't have the personnel. I can't speak to that, but I'm looking at equal treatment of people that are running against the Biden. So you would have to either say it was malice toward RFK Jr. and Donald Trump.
I would say that.
Which I could see that. That would be believable. But that, to me, would come down from somewhere up above the Secret Service. And I still don't even think that specifically applies to what happened in this event outside of they didn't have enough personnel.
Look, all it takes for that to be true is one or two people in the administration, not even in the administration. You could call it the administration because it's like deep state, it's agency people, but one or two people in Washington who are in charge of allocating, the Secret Service agents to say, you know what? We don't really like those guys. We don't care about them. It's the same kind of stuff that they don't really get the full consequences of their actions, but they're playing politics with everything. And they say, let's give them the D-level security team.
But the other side of that is, too, could they just look at Donald Trump and say, oh, he's a narcissist, he's full of bravado, this is just a way for him to play up his thing, and he doesn't actually need it. Could it have come out of an assessment?
I will say this before we move on. The day of the assassination attempt, I was driving between Springfield and Branson, Missouri, and started getting texts. And so we got to our hotel within about 15 minutes of the news breaking, turned on the news right away and was flipping through the channels because I wanted to get everything I could. Because at the time, you didn't know if the gunman was dead. You didn't know anything.
Mm-hmm.
And the reporting that I saw from CNN at the time was that not only had Donald Trump requested more Secret Service agents and been denied. This is from CNN.
Yeah.
But also that he was due to get more within a week after officially accepting the nomination.
And he didn't get those?
And he didn't get those. Well, he hadn't gotten the nomination yet because it was still 5 days away. So that led to a lot of conspiracies that, the gunman would have known and that security was lax right now and all this stuff. But I don't know if any of that's true. But CNN reported that all these things kind of culminated at the same time, that he didn't have as much protection as he should have. He didn't have as much protection as he would have a week later. And that, read into it what you will.
Yep, a complete breakdown. And for the longest time, we saw a erosion of the FBI, and for a while, you looked at the FBI as this very respected government agency, and if you're an FBI agent or whatever it is, you're like, wow, that's the top of the top. And I would say over the past decade, that has been degraded so far to the point where people look at the FBI and they say, what incompetence. And now the Secret Service is at that level too, where you can look at this complete breakdown and show that, wow, what we witnessed there from multiple camera angles, knowing what we know just from citizen journalists for the most part, from people that have testified what they saw from that event. Now the Secret Service is like even lower than the FBI, which is kind of a crazy thing to think of. One of the things you mentioned about the testimony today from Ray is that the search history from the gunman pointed out that he was researching the JFK assassination before the shooting. That was kind of interesting. Do you think that, you have Christopher Wray on Capitol Hill talking about this, and he realizes that the head of the Secret Service at the time, Cheadle, was just not given any answers. There was zero transparency. She had no interest in answering questions. She was just a body there to read whatever the bullet point, prepared, generic, no answer was. Did you think maybe there's a little bit of pressure to give just a little bit of more morsel to make it look like they're more cooperative? But in the end, I don't think they're cooperative at all. On
yeah, 100%. I really do think that that's true. And again, this is a multiple day investigation now playing out before Congress. This is something that Congress had to do. I don't blame them for doing it. I'm glad that they're doing it. But again, I just don't think that we're going to really find out anything important from this. The director of the Secret Service resigned. But if she was going to resign, she waited until after she saw that there was bipartisan criticism of her to resign.
Yep.
So I think she was very cowardice in doing that. If she was going to do it and thought, I've really failed here, the pressure is on me, I'm gonna give up my position, just like they say the guy for Reagan did. Great, but she waited until afterwards. So I would say that's kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
But other than that, I don't think that we're going to see anything. This is a little bit of a, hey, we're doing our jobs. Everybody pay attention because look how hard we are on these guys. But they're just deflecting. They're not giving you, and nothing's really going to be found out here.
Let's just say this. Go ahead, Brad.
What I was going to say is if we found out that this guy is just a crazy guy acting on his own and went ahead and took the shot, do you even think that how many people would even accept that as the reality of the situation? If they did all the real talk, real facts show that that's what this was. The Secret Service dropped the ball, and that's what came out of it. This guy was a lone gunman. He wasn't acting on behalf of anybody. He wasn't trying to, do anything other than he was just crazy. He's taking a shot at Donald Trump, and the Secret Service screwed up. It wasn't like some sort of massive plot. Would people even accept that anymore in this environment?
I look at it's hard it really is hard to understand what would have happened if it was anyone else. So let's say that was Jill Biden, or let's say that was Joe Biden or Kamala Harris. God forbid. Let's just say that it happened to anyone on the Democratic side. Do you think Joe Biden, as the president of the United States, would still go out there and praise Cheadle for her accomplishments on her way out? And, she did a great job, and thank you for everything you've done for this country and your service. Or do you think perhaps that person, whoever that person be, Cheadle or whoever, would have been fired immediately?
I think she's
fired. She would have been fired. The fact is that Joe Biden did not act on this, given everything we know. Decided to allow this to play out as if she can continue to audition to keep her job as opposed to just firing her, shows you that he is a terrible leader.
Oh, yeah.
And just like Donald Trump pointed out during the debate, 0 people were fired for that debacle in Afghanistan. No one loses their job in the Biden administration. You can be the worst at your job, and you're allowed to continue on, it could go to show you that these are the type of people he's surrounding yourself with. And that's why this country is not in the great shape it needs to be, because no one ever loses their job for incompetence. No, you almost had a former president of the United States assassinated live on television for everyone to watch, and you still were able to keep your job if it was up to Joe Biden. That to me is unbelievable to think that's even possible.
Ryan, it's not just that. It's that people who did lose their job due to incompetence under Donald Trump, he brought them back. You remember Peter Strzok? Mm-hmm. He was, I think it was him, that he was only a week or two away from getting pension or something like that. Yeah. Like he was just a week or two away from some major career milestone when Trump fired him. And he needed to be fired. He basically made up the entire investigation against Trump, and we know that to be true now. Well, the Biden administration brought him back so that he could get his pension.
Him or McCabe.
Or was it McCabe? Okay, it was one of those two. I remember thinking, you're going to bring these guys back who were fired for incompetence just to give them their government money? That's incredible.
That is so telling to me, honestly. And this goes to the zero transparency side of the Biden administration. If there was some transparency, then I think we'd be able to see all the incompetence that's going on. But then they get upset when you actually see it for your own eyes, and then they try to tell you to deny everything you just saw. It's not how it looks. In fact, it's the opposite of how you looked. Even though you are a witness of what's going on, you can't trust your lying eyes. You can only trust us, the government. And that is a very dangerous position to come for. And I think a lot of people have moved away from, hey, let's trust the government and let's just take them for their word the whole time. And that, to me, is really the Biden administration in a nutshell. You know what? After the break, a couple of things I want to get to. And there's so many other topics I want to get to. I haven't been checking out. Are we getting comments on the YouTube poll and everything? Is that going pretty well?
We are.
I think. Awesome. I do want to talk about that. And a couple of other things I want to talk about. Who's Kamala Harris going to pick for her VP candidate? I think there's a lot of speculation swirling around that too. We haven't talked about the polling side of it too. Maybe we should talk about some polls, because there are some new polls out of what's going to happen next. I'm Ryan Recker, filling in for the Andy Fry Show. You can find me online on 97.1 FM Talk.
The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
If you have an IRS problem, getting accurate legal advice could help get this all behind you right now. Hi, I'm local attorney Lance Drury with the Drury Law Firm. The IRS made new changes that make it easier to settle your IRS debt for a reduced amount. Not all our clients qualify, but under the IRS's new Fresh Start program, you may be able to resolve your IRS problems quickly and for less money. But don't wait. An IRS problem is a legal problem. You need someone who understands both the IRS and the law. Don't trust your tax problems to some TV personality. The Drury Law Firm has handled thousands of IRS cases over the last 15 years, and your first visit is completely free and confidential. And I'll tell you on the spot exactly how much it will cost. So if you're facing IRS wage levies, bank levies, or tax liens, call me, Lance Drury, at 314-260-6120, or go to Lance, DRURY law.com. If you have IRS issues, you need a local attorney. You need me, Lance Drury.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6986. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6986. That's 800-575-6986. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Can Missouri Republicans trust Bill Eigel? President Trump doesn't. President Trump criticized Eigel for deceiving voters by using his image in campaign ads. Trump even threatened legal action against Eigel. Why does President Trump oppose Bill Eigel? It's because Eigel's campaign is bankrolled by the same rich liberals who are funding ads that attack Trump's record and character. Bill Eigel is a dishonest politician who is bought and paid for by never-Trumpers. There's a better choice. Conservative Republican Mike Kehoe is a businessman and job creator. Kehoe has a bold plan to provide relief to Missouri families who are getting crushed by Biden's inflation. As our governor, Mike Kehoe will eliminate the state income tax to put more money back in your pocket. Mike Kehoe is the conservative Republican we can trust.
Cops for Kehoe is responsible for the content of this advertising, paid for by Cops for Kehoe, and is not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Air Comfort Service is hiring licensed journeymen. Don't have a journeyman license? Air Comfort Service will help you get it. Get guaranteed hours year-round and more. Apply online at aircomfortservice.com.
The Mark Reardon Show.
What was your opinion of the original Twister?
I liked it a lot. It was goofy,
I loved
kind
it.
of just fun
It
movie.
was perfect the way it is.
Right, exactly.
Twisters is going to then be definitely worth your while to go see.
Weekdays from 3 to 6. This is the Annie Fry Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
Welcome back. So the speech to the joint session of Congress with Benjamin Netanyahu is currently happening. I saw that Rashida Tlaib, the congresswoman from the Detroit area, she was censured last year for, shouting the Hamas from the rivers to the sea, decided to attend this. So I think some people are wondering if she's going to try to disrupt the speech. So far, I think it's going great. Can we listen to a little bit of it? I'm curious how this is going.
Sacrifice, and I pledge to you and to all the bereaved families of Israel, some of whom are in this hall today, the sacrifice of your loved ones will not be in vain. It will not be in vain, because for Israel, never again must never be an empty promise. It must always remain a sacred vow. And after October 7th, never again is now. My friends, defeating our brutal enemies requires both courage and clarity. Clarity begins by knowing the difference between good and evil. Yet incredibly, many anti-Israel protesters, many choose to stand with evil. They stand with Hamas. They stand with rapists and murderers. They stand with people who came into the kibbutzim, into a home. The parents hid the children, the two babies, in the attic, in a secret attic. They murdered the families, the parents. They found the secret latch to the hidden attic, and then they murder the babies. These protesters stand with them. They should be ashamed of themselves. They refuse to make the simple distinction between those who target terrorists and those who target civilians, between the Democratic State of Israel and the terrorist thugs of Hamas. We recently learned from the National Security Director, U.S. Director of National Intelligence, that Iran is funding and promoting anti-Israel protests in America. They want to disrupt America. So these protesters burn American flags even on the 4th of July. And I wish to salute the fraternity brothers at the University of North Carolina who protected the American flag against these anti-Israel protesters. For all we know, Iran is funding the anti-Israel protests that are going on right now outside this building. Not that many, but they're there, and throughout the city. Well, I have a message for these protesters. When the tyrants of Tehran, who hang gays from cranes and murder women for not covering their hair, are praising, promoting, and funding you, you have officially become Iran's useful idiots.
You're listening to Benjamin Netanyahu, who's live speak right now to a joint session of Congress. It's fantastic. Let's just keep listening to this.
Some of these protesters, it's amazing, absolutely amazing. Some of these protesters hold up signs proclaiming gays for Gaza. They might as well hold up signs saying chickens for KFC. These protesters chant from the river to the sea, but many don't have a clue what river and what sea they're talking about. They not only get an F in geography, they get an F in history. They call Israel a colonialist state. Don't they know that the land of Israel is where Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob prayed, where Isaiah and Jeremiah preached, and where David and Solomon ruled? For nearly 4,000 years, the land of Israel has been the homeland of the Jewish people. It's always been our home. It will always be our home. It's not only the campus protesters who get it wrong. It's also the people who run those campuses. 80 years after the Holocaust, the presidents of Harvard, Penn, and I'm ashamed to say my alma mater, MIT, couldn't bring themselves to condemn the calls for the genocide of Jews. You remember what they said? They said, it depends on the context. Well, let me give these befuddled academics a little context. Anti-Semitism is the world's oldest hatred. For centuries, the massacre of Jews was always preceded by wild accusations. We were accused of everything from poisoning wells to spreading plagues, to using the blood of slaughtered children to bake Passover matzahs. These preposterous anti-Semitic lies led to persecution, mass murder, and ultimately to history's worst genocide, the Holocaust. Now, just as malicious lies were leveled for centuries at the Jewish people, Malicious lies are now being leveled at the Jewish state. No, don't applaud. Listen. The outrageous slanders that paint Israel as racist and genocidal are meant to delegitimize Israel, to demonize the Jewish state, and to demonize Jews everywhere. And no wonder we've witnessed an appalling rise of anti-Semitism in America and around the world. My friends, whenever and wherever we see the scourge of anti-Semitism, we must unequivocally condemn it and resolutely fight it, without exception.
Some of those protesting this speech today by not appearing: Nancy Pelosi, Illinois' Dick Durbin, Bernie Sanders, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and Kamala Harris.
And don't be fooled when the blood libels against the Jewish state come from people who wear fancy silk robes and speak in lofty tones about law and justice. Here's a case in point. The prosecutor of the International Criminal Court has shamefully accused Israel of deliberately starving the people of Gaza. This is utter, complete nonsense. It's a complete fabrication. Israel has enabled more than 40,000 aid trucks to enter Gaza. That's 500,000 tons of food, and that's more than 3,000 calories for every man, woman, and child in Gaza. If there are Palestinians in Gaza who aren't getting enough food, it's not because Israel is blocking it, it's because Hamas is stealing it. So much for that lie, but here's another. The ICC prosecutor accuses Israel of deliberately targeting civilians. What in God's green earth is he talking about? The IDF has dropped millions of flyers, sent millions of text messages, made hundreds of thousands of phone calls to get Palestinian civilians out of harm's way. But at the same time, Hamas does everything in its power to put Palestinian civilians in harm's way. They fire rockets from schools, from hospitals, from mosques. They even shoot their own people when they try to leave the war zone. A senior Hamas official, Fatri Hamad, boasted, listen to this, he boasted that Palestinian women and children excel at being human shields. His words, excel at being human shields. What monstrous evil. For Israel, every civilian death is a tragedy. For Hamas, it's a strategy. They actually want Palestinian civilians to die so that Israel will be smeared in the international media and be pressured to end the war before it's won. This would enable Hamas to survive another day, and as they vowed, to carry out October 7th again and again and again. Well, I want to assure you, no matter what pressure is brought to bear, I will never allow that to happen. The vast majority of Americans have not fallen for this Hamas propaganda. They continue to support Israel. And I want to say thank you, America, and thank you, senators and House members who continue to support us, continue to support Israel, continue to support the truth and see through the lies. But as for the minority that may have fallen for Hamas's cons job, I suggest you listen to Colonel John Spencer. John Spencer is head of urban warfare studies at West Point. He studied every major urban conflict. I was going to say in modern history. He corrected me, no, in history. Israel, he said, has implemented more precautions to prevent civilian harm than any military in history and beyond what international law requires. That's why, despite all the lies you've heard, the war in Gaza has one of the lowest ratios of combatants to non-combatants casualties in the history of urban warfare. And you want to know where it's lowest in Gaza? It's lowest in Rafah. In Rafah. Remember what so many people said? If Israel goes into Rafah, there'll be thousands, maybe even tens of thousands of civilians killed. Well, last week, I went into Rafah. I visited our troops as they finished fighting Hamas's remaining terrorist battalions. I asked the commander there, how many terrorists did you take out in Rafah? He gave me an exact number, 1,203. I asked him, how many civilians were killed? He said, Prime Minister, practically none, with the exception of a single incident where shrapnel from a bomb hit a Hamas weapons depot and unintentionally killed 24 people. The answer is practically none. You want to know why? Because Israel got the civilians out of harm's way, something people said we could never do, but we did it.
Wow, quite the speech from Benjamin Netanyahu, and wow, we're going to have to analyze some of the things he mentioned there, and I got to say, really good things. There's a few things that stand out, and I know we're running late, and we have to get to the break. How about we do that first, and when we come back, we'll give our impressions of that part of the speech we just listened to live here with Benjamin Netanyahu in front of the joint session of Congress, speaking as we speak on 97.1 FM Talk.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Mosquitoes suck, and they literally do. Mosquitoes suck the blood out of your body. Get rid of them. You don't want mosquitoes around you. You don't want them around the kids or the grandkids. That's where Point Pest Control comes in. 636-798-0023. 636-798-0023. If you have pests invading your home, your business, your yard, Point Pest Control can cover you on both sides of the river. This is really important. I've talked a lot about my my just absolute appreciation for Point Pest Control taking care of my spider problem in my house. When you want them dead, gone, bye, that's when you call Point Pest Control. They are on both sides of the river in Illinois and Missouri, and they are there to help you with your immediate problem, but also, like me, I am a premium quarterly service customer. I'm very happy every quarter when they come by and they spray again, and I realize, oh my gosh, I haven't seen any bugs since they were here last time. It's working. Make sure it works for you as well. Drop the Annie name in there and save 10% on top of whatever they've got running. 636-798-0023. Point with an E, pointpestcontrol.com.
Patriots like President Trump never stop fighting for their country. Because Trump knows America's on life support and says Dr. Bob Onder can help him save it. Trump's endorsed Dr. Bob Onder for Congress, calling him an incredible America First patriot who will fight tirelessly for our families and conservative values. Dr. Bob Onder, the Trump-endorsed America First conservative. Kurt Schaefer is different. Trump calls Schaefer weak on MAGA because Trump knows his record, voting to let foreign-owned entities buy up Missouri farmland. Now China owns over 40,000 acres. And Schaefer's campaign took $30,000 from a Chinese-owned company. He won't make America great. He'll make China rich. If given the chance, Schaefer will do it again. Win It Backpack is responsible for the content of this ad. Paid for by Win It Backpack. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. WinItBackpack.com.
Tired of hearing scary ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. We may be able to significantly reduce and even eliminate what you owe to the IRS. Taxpayers should know
Huge savings are now being made available through the Fresh Start program that can drastically reduce the amount you will owe if you qualify. Even if you haven't filed your taxes in years or are facing wage garnishment, liens, levies, or under audit, we can help. We've earned over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today. To see what savings you may qualify for, visit us online at TRA.com or call us at 800-511-0379. 800-511-0379. Again, that's 800-511-0379. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Del Walmsley and the Wealth Cycle.
This is the wealth cycle that I've taught for 30 years. Buy one house, 10 houses, an apartment, 2 apartments, 8, 20, 500 units, 1,000 units, 2,000, 5,000 units. And as you keep putting the money and the profits back in, you become one of those rich people. And much quicker than you'd even believe.
Learn Del's Wealth Cycle at GiveMeTotalFreedom.com. Use promo code 2024. Save 60%. Code 2024. GiveMeTotalFreedom.com. GiveMeTotalFreedom.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
If you've been hurt on the job, you need the best. Onder Law. Hurt on the job? Call Onder Law today for a free review at 314 or 618-9000000.
Wow, we are all blown away by what we just heard in a joint session of Congress. Benjamin Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel, speaking, and we are going to react to that when we come back, so stick around. 1:45, a lot to say. 1:45, this time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
We're here to help you get registered to vote, whether you're in Missouri or Illinois. Democracy 2024 on 97.1 FM Talk. If you need help getting registered, go to 971talk.com/vote. This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on Instagram at The Annie Fry Show.
Just heard Benjamin Netanyahu speak to Congress. I think he's still speaking. Is that right? So he's addressing Congress. There are some people there that are protesting, I guess, silently. Rashida Tlaib, I saw on social media, holding up a sign that says war criminal. I'm listening to the speech. I want to react to a couple of things from it. I don't know what to give first, the serious or the goofy, because it's a very serious speech. I feel like I want to get the goofy out of the way first. Is that okay?
Yeah.
How many presidents of the United States do you know that would be able to go to a foreign country and address their constituents, their people, in their language? To me, it's so impressive because I don't think any president has ever been able to make an address like this at another country, in their language, outside of JFK misquoting German, Ich bin ein Berliner, or whatever it was. So to me, I was so impressed because he can come in here, he can speak English. And I think this leads me to the more serious point. When the news you consume is fed by a terrorist organization, Hamas, then what you are consuming and you're allowing to consume is a Hamas message.
Mm-hmm.
I can understand why so many people have hatred for Israel. But I'm going to put this on the counterbalance. It wouldn't matter because they hate Israel. They probably hate Jews because they want to eradicate them from the planet. They hate them so much. I don't think it matters what he's saying here today to them because to them, it just doesn't mesh with what their view is on these people. So what he is spitting right now is 100% pure truth. He is so true in everything he's saying here. I think there's a lot of people in Congress, luckily, are there to applaud and reaffirm what he's saying is true. That's a good thing, but it's not going to change any of the minds of the people that he was there to speak to.
I think what bothers me is that, I mean, first of all, like you said with the speech itself, there are very few Americans who can give a speech like that, let alone as English as a second language. But you're right about the message. Now, I can't personally confirm all of the facts that he just gave. But you know what else I cannot confirm and really am more suspicious of is when Hamas gives me details about the war on their side. They are known liars. They lie all the time. What he's saying about them using their own civilians is 100% true. This isn't new either. This has been going on for decades. They put weapons, ammunition stations underneath hospitals and schools so that they can kill their own civilians and control the message. The message is what matters. They are playing everybody all the time. It has been proven that they stage hospital visits at times with people in the hospital who are not actually there. Now, it doesn't mean that all of it's false, but it means that we have seen them lie. So why would you trust them when they're the ones feeding information to all media around the world, including the UN, including peacekeeping organizations? They're the ones feeding those messages. Why would you believe them? It makes me believe Netanyahu more, even though I can't confirm all of his numbers either. But what he's saying to me, you can test what he's saying much more than you can test what's going on inside of Gaza.
Yeah, one of the things I said to Ryan while we were listening to that speech is that, this war, if they hadn't taken the time that Israel's taken to warn civilians, to move people out there, basically to do that, to get civilians out of harm's way, you have to tell the bad guys where you're going to attack. Which means that if the civilians can get out of the way, your enemy can get out of the way. So one of the reasons that this war in Gaza is taking so long is because Israel's taking such care not to have any unnecessary and to limit the collateral damage. Now, here's another story to Ryan's point. When they rescued, you remember they did that Special Forces rescue of the hostages, I think it was in June. They went and they rescued these hostages. 2 of these hostages were being kept at the house of an Al Jazeera reporter and his family. This is the major news organization where everybody's getting their information about the casualties from what's going on inside Gaza and all that other stuff, what the situation's like that. And you've got reporters for this news organization actively holding hostages from Israel. You can't trust anything that comes out from that side.
Right. And, the Palestinian Authority is where they try to get some of these large numbers that, again, are not fact-checked, but are taken as facts. But I will point out, there are things that you have receipts for when it comes to flyers dropped, messages that are texted out. You can go and see those. You can see what they do when it comes to warning. And here's something that backs up Netanyahu. You have people that are there who said they tried to flee, and Hamas refuses to allow them to flee. So things that he says, like they're using them as human shields, can be absolutely confirmed. We have those accounts of that happening. I guess I don't know the things you can't confirm in what he's saying there, because, you can say, okay, we killed 1,200 terrorists, and maybe because of a bomb that went off, shrapnel killed a few dozen civilians. Things like that, maybe. The exact numbers can't be confirmed, I understand. But other than that, I think everything else that he's saying, we've had either direct or indirect evidence backing him up in what he said.
Yeah. Well, that fact, Ryan, is exactly what I'm talking about. He says, there's only been a handful. I don't even think I think he said 1 or 2 civilians that have been killed in this entire war. And I don't know if he was just talking about Rafah at the time or if he's talking about the larger war. But regardless, those are facts. It's really difficult to fact check them because the only authorities you have giving you facts about these things would be the IDF and Hamas. That's it. The 2 sides. And so you don't know exactly what is happening. My point is, though, that when I read a list of people who've decided to protest this speech, and I'll read it again, it's Nancy Pelosi, it's Senate Majority Whip Dick Durbin of Illinois, it's Bernie Sanders, it's Elizabeth Warren, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Ro Khanna, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris. Those are the people who have protested the speech. Now, a couple people are in protest in the speech, like you mentioned, Rashida Tlaib. But those people have chosen to believe what Hamas is saying.
Yeah.
Listen to that. They have chosen to believe that Hamas is giving them the truth and Israel is not. That is where they stand.
That's a key point. I don't know if we should fault Joe Biden for not being there. Could be any reason, but he's always basically supported Israel, even though he's come out and said some, I know I'm going to wag my finger at these guys type of moments. But other than that, he's supported Israel. So I don't know if I would clump him into some of these other people that are deciding to protest. And who knows about his health and the COVID or whatever. He's trying to isolate before the speech tonight. Sure. I thought he was going to meet with these leaders, with Benjamin Netanyahu. I think that the thing that's really scary is with Kamala Harris skipping out on this, that she, I think, is going to pledge her compass towards the Palestinian Authority and say these are the people we should be listening to when it comes to the Middle East, when it comes to the accounts that are coming off of Israel. That is very scary. And that to me is something that Israel should be very concerned with too. Because if the United States is being led by someone that's not on your side, that's a complete shift from all of the other leaders of the free world who have committed the against terrorism in that region. So again, I think Kamala Harris, I don't know if she's on the record giving her true her true, I guess, thoughts on this whole matter. I think she's tried to sit this out, but her sitting it out here is very telling to me.
Well, this says a lot about her presidential strategy. There are a lot of candidates. You've heard about the No Labels Party and all these people. When they would sit down to do interviews, they'd go, "What do you think about these issues?" And they go, "Well, I think we should all just get along." Like that's not leadership. You can't do that in America today. You're going to come to issues like this, and you have to decide what you're going to do about it. I think she's going to try to avoid all of it and pretend like she's, other than maybe some social issues, which she's clear on, she's going to try to avoid all of it and look foolish in the process.
Well, that's the fundamental issue that the Democrat Party faces in this election is they've built this coalition of people who on certain issues are so diametrically opposed to one another. You can't bring the Jewish contingent of your party and the pro-Palestine contingent of your party together on this issue. You can't do it. And they're very passionate, and this is probably one of the number one, if not the number one issue to both sides in that argument.
Just keep in mind, throughout the history of this conflict, Israel has given up land, I think it's 7 times. It's a lot. And every time it never appeases them, because the appeasement of the Palestinians and Hamas is the eradication of Jews. They want them wiped off the planet. I don't know how you appease that. So here you have the leader of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, that I believe him when he says they've gone through these precautions to try to prevent civilian life. And I also believe him when he says he's going in there to eradicate these terrorists, because Hamas is a terrorist organization. All of these things I agree and believe to be true in this conflict. I think that the truth and what needs to happen when people walk away from here is to not make him into the devil, as a lot of the pro-Palestinian protesters will go out there and continue to advocate for the eradication of Jews. We have to drown that out and realize the truth is opposite of what they're saying. I'm Ryan Recker, filling in 97.1 FM Talk.
Are you worried about the state of the economy? Concerned about market crashes and rising inflation wiping out your savings? At Noble Gold Investments, we understand your fears and have a solution. Call us today at 1-888-403-1050. Imagine safeguarding you and your family with a tangible asset that has stood the test of time. Gold. With Noble Gold Investments, you can diversify your portfolio and protect your wealth from economic turmoil. Our team will guide you through the process, ensuring you make informed decisions that best suit your needs. Call Noble Gold Investments today at 1-888-403-1050. That's 1-888-403-1050. The future is uncertain. Take control now. Call 1-888-403-1050.
Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals, including gold, involves risks. Consult with your tax attorney or financial professional before making an investment decision.
Ready to turn your home into a digital racetrack? Buckle up for i3 Broadband's advanced whole home Wi-Fi. Picture this: lightning fast internet in every nook and cranny. No dead zones, no lag, just pure connectivity. Whether you're binge watching in the living room or video calling from the basement. All with no contracts, no hidden fees, just insane speeds. Plus our no-risk 30-day money-back guarantee. Hit us up at 877-976-0711 or zoom over to i3broadband.com/STL. We're local, reliable, and turbocharging your internet life.
Biden's open border policies are crushing Missouri. Yet, the Jeff City Swamp is boosting a program subsidizing
providing health care for illegals, the same program behind Planned Parenthood's discount abortion scheme. Thankfully, Iraq War veteran Andrew Bailey is on guard. Like Trump, he's a fighter. As your Attorney General, Andrew Bailey won't stop fighting illegal immigrants and Planned Parenthood. Call 314-340-6816 and thank Andrew Bailey. Stand For Us PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising, not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. StandForUs.com.
I was having a lot of sinus infections. My sinuses were clogged, pressure, headaches.
Linda suffered for years with chronic sinus infections.
You don't feel like doing anything. When you feel like your head is completely clogged, all you want to do is just lay down and sleep. And the pressure, it's just not fun, always walking around with a headache.
Now, her issues are gone. How? A minimally invasive procedure done in the office of St. Louis Sinus Centers called balloon sinuplasty.
I really did not know what it was like to feel like you're really breathing and not being so clogged up. I would do it again in a heartbeat, and I would definitely recommend it for someone else.
Do you suffer with chronic sinus infections, facial pain, pressure, congestion? Find out if balloon sinuplasty is the solution for you. Set an appointment today with St. Louis Sinus Centers. Call 314-332-2885. 314-332-2885. That's 314-332-2885.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studio.
That's GetJim.com.
97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Protests at the Capitol. I'm Chris Foster, Fox News. Thousands of people are protesting as Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu speaks to a joint meeting of Congress. Protesters chanting Free Palestine, calling for an end to the war in Gaza. Police say pepper spray has been used against protesters who become violent and failed to obey orders to move back. Protesters inside are escorted out as Prime Minister Netanyahu asked Congress for continued support in the fight against Hamas and other terrorist groups.
For the forces of civilization to triumph, America and Israel must stand together.
He says anti-Israel protesters should be ashamed of themselves, calling them useful idiots of Iran's regime. Dozens of Democrats are boycotting the address. President Biden addresses the nation tonight about his decision to end his re-election campaign and endorse Vice President Kamala Harris. She spoke at the annual national gathering of the Zeta Phi Beta sorority in Indianapolis.
Joe Biden is a leader with bold vision. He cares about the future. He thinks about the future. He has extraordinary determination and profound compassion for the people of our country.
Former President Trump campaigns in Charlotte, North Carolina today. FBI Director Chris Wray says the man who shot and wounded him, killing one person, wounding two others at a rally in Pennsylvania, had looked up President Kennedy's assassination the day he signed up to attend that rally in Butler.
On July 6th, he did a Google search for, quote, how far away was Oswald from Kennedy?
He tells the House Oversight Committee Thomas Crooks flew a drone over the site 2 hours before the shooting and that at this point his motive is still unclear. On Wall Street, the Dow is down 411 points. The S&P and NASDAQ on track for the worst day of the year. Tesla and Google's parent company Alphabet with disappointing earnings reports out today. America's listening to Fox News.
The doctor's office that accidentally mixed up your files has your social security number. The power company that mistakenly cut your service has your payment info. And the hotel that lost your reservation has your passport number. You need LifeLock because your personal info is in endless places that can expose you to identity thieves. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points every second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed or your money back. Save up to 40% with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Hi, I'm Angie Hicks, co-founder of Angie. And one thing I've learned is that you buy a house, but you make it a home. Because with every fix, update, and renovation, it becomes a little more your own. So you need all your jobs done well. For nearly 30 years, Angie has helped millions of homeowners hire skilled pros for the projects that matter. From plumbing to electrical, roof repair to deck upgrades. So leave it to the pros who will get your jobs done well. Hire high-quality certified pros at Angie.com.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Partly sunny skies, nothing extreme with our heat, but this is the hottest afternoon of the week. 90 degrees, moderate humidity, maybe a couple of little pop-up thunderstorms, tough to find. Tonight, clear skies, 80s this evening, 72 for the low on Thursday. Partly sunny, some spot afternoon storms, 87. Friday, sunny, also 87. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
To have a roof over your head, a nice roof over your head, is very important.
That's Rick talking about his experience with Rhino Shield ceramic coating.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago, and they're very cooperative on getting us the right paint. They were in and out and done in no time. Once it was finished, looked great. We were very happy with it.
The main reason Rick called Rhino Shield is because it's backed by a 25-year transferable warranty.
We've watched a lot of people get their house painted 3 or 4 times, and we haven't had to do any of it. I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to have to paint it every 5-7 years.
Take a tip from Rick and put down the paintbrush and call Rhino Shield for your free evaluation. 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO. Or visit 877-25rhino.com.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago. Financially makes sense, especially if it's going to last like this did. Still looks great.
Call now. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com.
No pain, don't Rhino. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Mark Cox here. Join me, Annie Fry, and Mark Reardon, along with Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw of the Retirement Advisory Group for the Protecting Your Retirement Educational event, Tuesday, August 6th. It's at the Frontenac Hilton at 6:30 p.m. Seats are limited, so go online at retirementkey.com. Here's Thomas and Bob with more.
Are you nearing retirement or already retired and wondering what to do with your life savings? Are you concerned how a major market correction will affect your retirement? Would you like to have a personalized, structured income plan that shows you the monthly income you'll receive in retirement and how to never outlive it?
Did you also know if you're 59 and a half or older, you can roll over your company retirement plan tax-free to protect your nest egg from any more losses? You'll get all the answers and more. If you're 59 and a half or older, you cannot afford to miss this event.
Protect your retirement nest egg and join the official financial advisors of my show, Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw, Tuesday, August 6th at the Frontenac Hilton at 6:30 p.m. Go online at retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
Paid for by Lori Rook from Missouri. Ryan Rook, Treasurer.
You deserve to know where your tax dollars are really going. You deserve to know about the backdoor deals our politicians are making with lobbyists. And you deserve to know when your elected officials are supporting things that compromise your conservative values. But right now, it's all hidden behind the curtain. As your next Missouri State Treasurer, I will publish the full story of our state's spending in one easy-to-use website. Vote for me, Lori Rook, in the August 6th Republican primary, because you deserve to know.
Don't let a cold, sinus infection, or allergies ruin your day. Breathe easier, sleep better, and feel healthier with Navage. Visit Navage.com, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, or a store near you.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com or call us toll-free at 888-367-6512.
It's what's happening.
The argument now is Harris versus Trump.
Right now.
Kamala Harris, who has been working with him, has repeatedly said that Joe Biden is physically fit.
97.1 FM Talk.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what you're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
And welcome back. I'm Ryan Recker, filling in for Annie Fry. Just so happens to be the Manny Fry Show when Annie is out. Bunch of dudes just hanging out for another hour. And I got to say, you have another hour or so, a little bit less to vote in the YouTube poll. And this is a good YouTube poll. So if you want to get in, if you haven't done so yet, Wiggins, what is the poll today?
Which of these will have the greatest impact on the 2024 presidential race? Illegal immigration, economy, personality, or other? And let us know.
Okay. We'll get some results to that coming up. I wanted to talk about this Elon Musk story, and we have some audio from him too, but Elon Musk is in the news for comments he made about his son that went through, I guess, some gender reaffirming care. If we can just play Elon Musk, and we'll comment after that.
I was told, Xavier might commit suicide if he.
That was a lie right from the outset.
Incredibly evil, and I agree with you that people that have been promoting this should go to prison.
That's
so I was tricked into doing this, it wasn't explained to me that puberty blockers are actually just sterilization drugs. Anyway, and so I lost my son essentially. They call it dead naming for a reason.
Yeah,
all right. So the reason it's called dead naming is because your son is dead. So my son Xavier is dead, killed by the woke mind virus.
This is a very serious situation some parents have to go through. The woke mind virus, the puberty blockers, and the irreversible damage that some kids go through. This is something I think a lot of people try to fight. They don't want the exploitation of children to do irreversible harm to their bodies, when so much of what we understand is that once they hit 18 and maybe get a little bit more developed, they regret the decision that they made when they were younger. And I think just human nature would indicate that when you're younger, you don't make the best decisions about yourself. But I wanted to take this topic in a different route, because the first thing I thought of when I heard this story about Elon Musk was, and this is going to sound tough, and I'm hoping that you guys could. I don't want this to be controversial, but I think it needs to be said. You're a billionaire who runs multiple companies. You're known for sleeping at your factories to keep things on track. How much of this is him being an absent father that led his family down a path where things like this happen? If he was more hands-on with his family life, could this have been prevented? Is that unfair or fair to say?
Well, it's a fair question to ask. We just don't know what his family life. I know he's got a lot of kids. I know that to be true.
Yeah.
And so, you're probably right. He does have a lot to manage. So I don't know. I mean, it sounds like he was there for this decision, and he regrets being a part of allowing the decision to be made. Again, at what level was he there to say yes or no? We don't know, but he feels fully manipulated by doctors who were telling him one thing and maybe telling him truths, but giving him morsels of truth that were not the full truth, is what it sounds like.
Yeah, when I think about it, to your point, Ryan, that there is no substitute for a present father in the home. There's just absolutely no substitute for that. And I can't speak to whether or not Elon Musk was present and active in his son's life or in his children's life. I don't know. I don't know where any of that is. So I think that makes your question a fair question. How present was he? But to other Ryan's point,
I'm other Ryan.
Other Ryan being Wiggins. Yeah. You're supposed to be able to trust the experts. And I think this is something that I'm really, as of late, I'm really starting to lament what happened during COVID, because this all stems from that. Elon Musk went into this and spoke to these therapists and to these doctors, and they said, this is what's best, and your only option is this, or your kid's going to, commit suicide. Those are the only two options that they gave him. And that's not true. And you hear Dr. Peterson in that interview say that's a lie out and out. And you'll hear people like Chloe Cole, who's a detransitioner, saying, I wish somebody would have spoke to me. I wish they would have just waited and taken their time. The experts in our lives, be it through gender transition surgeries, through COVID. I mean, heck, we talked ad nauseum about the FBI and the Secret Service. You're supposed to be able to trust the people that are supposed to be experts, and they've let us down. And now we've got this lack of trust in these areas. And that's one of the things that I wanted to bring up that I lament. I think we're in a lot of bad situations in our lives because the experts took advantage of the good faith that we have shown them, and they lied to us through this whole thing.
Yeah, and so this is where I've kind of I want to just say this as delicate as possible because I understand that there are people that are very hands-on with their children, and this sort of thing still is a conflict inside the family. So it has nothing to do with being absent for some families. But I think about some of these statistics you look at of what happens when there's a father absent from the house. And sometimes you can look at socioeconomical issues where it's a poor family, so they make different decisions based on what a rich family makes. So in this case, the money is not a problem here, right? Obviously, he's one of the richest people on the planet. I think part of being a parent is trying to guide your kids away from, and I'll use the term Elon Musk uses, the woke virus, the mind virus. You have to navigate your children in a world where this exists, but not allowing it to grab onto them. And part of being a active participant in your children's life is recognizing when these things are coming in because you're paying attention to your kids, who they're hanging around, what kind of media or what kind of anything that they're consuming for entertainment or sometimes for education or whatever. And then recognizing when some of these things are leaking in, you have to stop it from the source. And some parents aren't able to recognize that. Maybe some of them are overwhelmed with other situations in their lives, so things go unnoticed for longer. And then sometimes they're completely absent. And with the Elon Musk case, he is just well documented for working nonstop away from his family. It just makes me wonder how much of this is actually him not being able to pick up on these cues. And should there be a higher priority than work when you love your kids as much as Elon Musk sounds like he loves his kids? And I think it could be an unfair criticism or an observation that could be coming up here because, again, this happens in families all the time, and they tried to do everything they could to be hands-on. It still happens. But all things considered, if you thought something like this was happening with your family, wouldn't you make that a higher priority than work?
Yeah, I would.
I would too.
The other thing about this story is that this broke yesterday, maybe late the day before. I think it was yesterday. If he actually has been an absentee father, what you're going to hear is the kid or the mom of the kid is going to come out and do a rebuttal story, and you'll see that come out, which I'm surprised hasn't happened yet. But if he actually is there, you could see a rebuttal from the kid anyway. He went through the process. So I wouldn't be surprised if you see that if they have any sort of problem with what Elon Musk said of one of the people in his life coming out and saying so.
The language he's using, I lost a son, right? He's dead. And that's what he explains when it comes. And I'm so glad, Brad, that you included that as part of the clip because that is taken so much out of context in all the stories that are written about this, where he very clearly says once they go through this transition, it's called dead naming for a reason. The person that was before is completely gone. And he opens up to, it was a Jordan Peterson he was doing the interview with.
Yeah.
Jordan Peterson. Would he be a psychologist? What would his most training be on? I know he's a professor in Canada. Psychology is a big thing for him. And he's a very smart person, like super smart person. He gets criticized for how fast he speaks in his ability to comprehend complex things very quickly and then being able to analyze and then rebuttal very quickly for things that I'm sure he's never even thought of before. He's very good at that. But this is something he's been paying attention to for a long time. And what we've seen, I think, in trends, not only in America, but across the world, and Canada is probably even worse than America, is that even if you question these sort of things, then you are akin to creating a crime, right? You're saying that even if by questioning or discussing some of these things, that you're committing an act of violence against that person. And that's how far we've gone. We can't even get to the point in some places questioning things without it escalating to a government power intervening in either preventing you or maybe punishing you for bringing these sort of things up. And in Canada's sake, Jordan Peterson was very active about this compelled speech, meaning that if you have to, force for the government, you have to say certain things a certain way, or you will be punished, fined, or jailed. That's where we continue to move, unfortunately. And that's why things like this need to stop. I think a lot of times in 2016, people thought, hey, if Donald Trump gets in office, this sort of junk is going to end. It didn't end. In fact, it just continued to get worse. I have no idea what to do to stop it from ending, quite frankly.
Yeah, it's powerful in Canada. I mean, you're right. We can go back to talking about the trucker protest. These people were protesting COVID restrictions, and they had their bank accounts shut down. You don't have a First Amendment in Canada.
Not just their bank accounts, but anybody that supported them.
Yeah, that's right. If you were in the country. But to your point, we've been manipulated on this subject, not to get too far away from the subject of transgenderism, and among kids especially, because that's really where the fight is right now. Because nobody's saying you can't do this if you're an adult. You can. We can talk through it. I mean, I would love to talk through these things with a friend of mine who was going through them, but I don't. It's the social issue is the kids and sports. That's the two areas. And we've all been manipulated on this. You think about the way they've manipulated language even on this topic. If you were going to change the genitalia of a person, you would call that gender reassignment. They have now flipped that to where you have to call that gender affirmation. It's literally the exact opposite of what it is. You're changing someone's gender, and you have to call it gender-affirming surgery.
Well, and the other side of that is, too, when you talk about the language, when you talk about things like pronouns and using the correct pronouns, you don't use third-person pronouns when you're talking to the individual that you're talking to. You use second person, or you say their name. So when they say use my pronouns, the she, the her, the they, the them, the z, the zers, all the different pronouns that are out there, they want to control how you speak to other people, not to them. You're not being respectful or disrespectful to them because they're not present whenever you're having this conversation. That's one of the things that really bothers me is like, stay out of my language. You don't get to tell me what I can and can't say.
And going back to part of this too, when there's a disagreement in this, you went back and you mentioned just how wrong some of these doctors are, and you can give a lot of examples in parallels to COVID. But when you also look at how they say reaffirming, meaning that we have to allow the kid to make these changes that'll alter their bodies permanently, that you want to shift some of the authority of that decision making onto a person that's not a member of that family, let it be a teacher or a politician or whatever it is. You find that they make these sort of decisions to say it's the only humane thing to do because otherwise they may commit suicide. I'm glad that Elon Musk brought that part of it up because this is why you fight these things in schools. This is why you say that, teachers have no business in this equation. And for example, if it does happen, then the parent needs to be immediately notified and brought into that conversation. It shouldn't be subverted into a teacher or an administrator or a guidance counselor making these sort of decisions, encouraging the kid along the path that is that woke virus in the mind. These are all things that we are fighting against right now, and there are real consequences. And I think an interview like this is you hate to hear that. And this is why I go back and forth. I think, okay, could he have cut this off from the beginning, removed him from this so the virus didn't take over the mind?
Right. Yeah, I think we lost you there for a second, Ryan. But yeah, I think just to conclude your point. Oh, there you are. Go ahead.
Sorry. No, I apologize. Sometimes that happens where this system cuts. But just in general, it's so hard to tell the direction that we're going. It's also so hard to tell. I completely forgot where I was, what I said when I cut off there. But all things considered,
I think you were going to say that you don't like CrowdStrike.
This is part of it. You think that could be it?
That's it.
I might as well blame everything else.
I think you were getting into the how much of this was Elon Musk, being absent, and how much of this is outside of that.
Yeah, and it's so hard to tell what the combination of it is. But I think in general, you gotta what's the old phrase? Nip it in the bud as soon as you can before that woke virus takes over. All right. When we come back, Ryan Wiggins, you've been looking at polls. Is that right? Deep dive?
I have been. I've even been during the show because a couple new ones have come out even since we've been talking. So I'll try to update you. But you have some really interesting stuff about the polls that are making headlines right now that are supposed to be so good for Kamala. A little bit of a spoiler. They're not.
Oh, okay, good. All right. We need this because some of the polls I'm seeing is they're neck and neck. Well, okay, let's get the truth of this and what's going on. I'm Ryan Recker, filling in 97.1 FM Talk.
In the comfort of your arms, on a pillow of blue bonnets, in a blanket made of stars. Oh, it sounds good to me.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Are you the decision maker in your company? Consider this. For the first time in decades, there's a better option for a corporate card and spend management platform. Meet Ramp, the only corporate card and spend management system designed to help you spend less money so you can make more. With Ramp, you get full visibility into your company's spending and control who spends what with each vendor. Ramp's software collects and verifies receipts instantly to save your team valuable time. Ramp automates data entry and routine tasks with automated approvals, expense categorization and bill payments, time-consuming tasks. Which means you'll stop wasteful spending and close your books in hours instead of days. Businesses that use Ramp add up to 5% to their bottom line the first year. If you're a decision maker, adding Ramp could be one of the best decisions you've ever made. Get $250 when you join Ramp for free. Just go to ramp.com/free. Ramp.com/free. RAMP.com/free.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank and Celtic Bank, members FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.
Summer is here, which means pool days, beach trips, and yeah, you guessed it, traffic jams. Oh yeah, and heat waves. Don't let summer catch you by surprise. Get the local news you need, no matter what you're up to, with the free Odyssey app. And never miss a beat with alerts on breaking stories sent directly to your phone. Listen today on the free Odyssey app. That's AUDACY.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential. But finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Considering new windows, I want you to talk to my friends at Window World. Mark Cox here. They have got a great deal going for you right now. Up to 36 months financing, interest-free, with approved credit. They've never done this before at Window World, so take advantage of this. Call them today at 314-993-1800. Again, 314-993-1800. You hear me talk about Window World, I'm a satisfied customer. I've got their windows in my house. I've been to their offices and I've stood on these windows. I've seen how well built they are. They go in and they are meant to last. You wouldn't give a lifetime warranty on a product if you didn't think it was going to last for a long time, and they stand behind that warranty. In over 20 years of business, they have helped more than 72,000 customers in St. Louis improve the look and the thermal efficiency of their home. Call them today, get your free estimate, and ask about that 36-month financing, 314-993-1800. or windowworld.com.
For over 2 decades, Joe Brazel has served St. Charles County with passion and dedication. As your county councilman, Joe has championed smart growth with Proposition S, protected our veterans by stopping military funeral protests, stood against excessive high-density housing, and supported the 2030 Master Plan for controlled infrastructure. Joe Brazel, a true patriot working for you.
I'm Joe Brazel, running for St. Charles County Council, District 2, vote August 6th.
Paid for by Citizens for Joe Brazel, Mike Summers, Treasurer.
You're listening to the Annie
Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. If you're not sure who to call for air conditioning services, contact the team at Air Comfort Service. With 55 years of experience and thousands of 5-star reviews, you can trust them with the comfort of your home. Visit aircomfortservice.com.
Download the Odyssey app to listen to 97.1 FM Talk and find content that moves you. Anytime, anywhere. The Odyssey app for 97.1 FM Talk on the go. This is the Annie Fry Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. I'm Ryan Recker filling in. You can find me online, Ryan Recker Radio. Still some time to go and vote in that latest YouTube poll. Very easy. Which of these will have the greatest impact on the 2024 presidential race? Illegal immigration, economy, personality, or other? What may it be? Go vote now. We'll have the results coming up here within the half hour or so from now. All right, Ryan Wiggins, you've been looking at the polling very closely, and it's important to note that what you see may be different than some of the headlines you see on these major news websites.
This is why it's so important to be able to dive into polls to find out how they're doing them, and not just how, but really, most importantly, who are they polling and how are they weighting the poll? Because you can do a lot with a couple little numbers there, and that is easy to overlook unless you dive into the crosstabs, which I was doing all morning and actually have been doing a little bit during the show because a new one dropped. But the big one that made all the headlines is the Reuters Ipsos poll that is the first, and they were saying this, and it was true, the first poll released since Kamala Harris became the candidate for the Democrats. Has Harris up by 2. And if you've been watching all the polling, Trump's been up in all of, and this is a national poll, okay? So this isn't a state poll, which is really what matters. But these national polls, they kind of give you a gauge on the way people are feeling. And all of a sudden, Harris declares her candidacy, and she's up by 2. It's the only one we've seen with a Democrat up. It's got to be that Kamala Harris has changed the game.
It's the Kamala Harris poll? Is that what you said it was?
No, it's the Reuters poll.
Reuters poll, okay.
Reuters Ipsos. So I thought, wow, that's interesting. I would have expected there might have been a little bit of bump, just excitement bump that they got. So I dove into this poll and was looking at the results and why did Kamala Harris seem to jump up from her previous Reuters poll, because they were asking this question. They've been asking the question about Harris for a while now. Ever since the debate, it became a good poll question because, hey, maybe it's not Joe Biden anymore. And here we are. So here's what's flawed about this poll that is making national news. It was yesterday, even this morning was the Reuters poll has Harris up. They oversampled Democrats. So instead of it being even, you know, you have 36% Republicans, 36% Democrats, and whatever left of independents is usually the way they do it. And they always oversample independents in these things. They just always do. Not just them, everybody. Don't know why they do it. Reuters oversampled Democrats in this poll by 6 points.
Okay.
And still only had Harris up by 2.
Okay.
Okay. So if you go, well, okay, but the most important thing is how do they compare it to previous polls that they've done on the same topic, not with Biden, but with Harris. So if you look back to the beginning of July, Reuters released one that was, okay, Trump versus Harris, who would you hypothetically vote for? Because at that time, she didn't have the nomination. Well, at that time, it was Trump +1. And so they're looking at these and going, oh, wow, look, she's flipped 3 points. She's gained 3 points. Well, guess what? If you look into the methodology of both of those polls from the same pollster, Reuters, you find that in early July, they weighted it Democrats +3.
Oh, okay.
Now they weighted Democrats +6. Where do you think those three? Where do you think those 3 percentage points came from? They just weighted it +3 more. That's it. So nothing, according to their poll, nothing has changed in this race since she declared. Isn't that amazing? That should be the headline, but it's not.
I know what Donald Trump would say. They're weighting it based on Joe Biden's handicap in golf.
Yes. Yeah.
Basically, you have to give her a handicap. So let's look at the numbers. When they weigh the polls a certain way, do they take that into consideration when they come out with the numbers, or is it just, okay, we're going to take everything that we got and then punch it in and then just output? Or do they actually scale back some of the extra Democrat votes that came in?
They do. So they can weight them. And this one, like I said, they have been, and traditionally this is true. Traditionally, you do have a little bit more of a Democrat turnout in a national election than you do Republicans. It's why most of the time you see a national popular vote win by Democrats, but a Republican could still win because of the Electoral College. Not always, but sometimes. So they do tend to weight it, but usually the good ones, they weight it by about what the margin has been in actual elections. You say, okay, if Hillary Clinton won the popular vote by 2% more than Donald Trump or whatever, however you find it, then you weight that for the next poll and you say, okay, we'll have 2% more Democrat turnout. A lot of these polls, though, they start projecting and saying things like, well, we think that this is the way it's going to go. And so we think right now, amazingly, Reuters has been saying we think that we'll have 3% more Democrats turn out than Republicans. Now, that already is a stretch.
That's a stretch.
But to move it to be 6% more Democrats will turn out in this election than Republicans, and you still only have Harris by +2, it's saying a lot. And since we're already on the topic, let me jump to a different one because we're talking about this Reuters one simply because it's making so much news. Mm-hmm. NPR and PBS, Marist, released one today also. And it's the second one that's come out since Harris has been the candidate. The last time they did this, it was Trump +1. And they have Democrats weighted by +3. Mm-hmm. They did the exact same thing this time. I'll give them credit for at least being consistent. And it's still Trump +1. Nothing's changed. So there's 2 polls in a row since she's declared her candidacy that if you really dig into the numbers, literally the exact same as with Joe Biden.
Do you think that looking at the polling and, of course, the complete disaster of 2016 when it came to polling credibility, do you think that having Trump down in some polls is a motivator for Republicans? Do you think this could be a good thing for them to realize that it's not a gimme that a lot of people think it's going to be?
Yeah, I don't think that's a bad thing.
Yeah.
Having motivation. Here's the thing, though. If you're not motivated to vote in this election after what you've been experiencing for 4 years, like I don't know if a poll is going to move you. What you're experiencing in your real life should be moving you to the polls or to the ballot.
I am very curious of how this one's going to play out. And I know that donor money is being spent, but think of all the money that Biden wasted on advertisements before going into this one. So what happens next? Are they going to change everything that quickly, get this back on TV? You really haven't seen too many Donald Trump ads on television. Now, keep in mind, I'm in Michigan, a battleground state, where they have been running it nonstop prior to him stepping down. You're not seeing as much. You are seeing some, but not as much. You see the super PACs or whatever come in there. And Donald Trump's a racist, type of super PACs where they mention these sort of things. And then they say, not affiliated with any party. I'm like, okay, whatever. I think that whatever the next blitz is going to be, it's going to be super dirty, whatever it may be. They're going to do everything they can. And this people online are already trying to push this Project 2025 even further. I'm really surprised they're going to hitch their wagon to Project 2025 as their way to get into the White House, honestly. Let's look at this, too. Did you see that one clip about Kamala Harris brat? Do you know what that's all about?
I saw it, but I don't know what the connection is. Kamala Harris brat. No, tell me.
I was hoping you could tell me because it's just it's one of those stupid internet things.
Yeah.
But I was going to try to tie this in basically to say that so much of these strategies they make it look like it's organic, but it is so forced and old and stupid that I got to imagine the people that even like her are looking at it and rolling their eyes. But they look at this and they say, this is how we're going to be able to connect with the younger generation because we need the young kids to go out there and vote. Otherwise, we're not going to get Kamala Harris into the White House. So we need to do a Kamala brat or whatever the stupid thing is as an organic strategy. And again, I love it when things like that backfire because it's just so stupid to so many people.
So the brat thing is something that I believe it's Charlie XCX, who is a pop star. It's something that she came up with, and it's kind of like she made it out to be, well, actually, whenever I heard her define what it was just a bunch of nothing and word salad. But it's supposed to be an attitude, but like you just pointed out, and Ryan just pointed out, is like, hey, what is this deal with this Kamala brat thing? Well, if you guys don't know what it is and you guys are plugged in, nobody's going to know what it is that's really going to be a massive factor in this coming election. They want to make her hip with the young kids, but I don't know that these young kids that they're trying to make her hip with are going to be voting in significant enough numbers for this to even matter. Yeah. And it's it's so organic, as you pointed out. It's so organic that they
make it look like it's organic.
They had to contact Charlie XCX to get permission to use it.
I just want to see Kamala Harris be in front of a group of kids that think that's really funny and just say, back in my day, I would have thrown you all in jail for marijuana. Just, back in my day, I would have had you all rounded up, but now I'm asking for your vote.
Wait, I'm getting lost here. The brats thing is a pro Kamala thing?
Yes.
Okay, because I didn't get this.
It's supposed to be edgy and cool and hip.
So she's a brat, and that's supposed to be kids looking at her going, oh, she's kind of like me. I'm a brat.
She's a brat.
That's the thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Bold strategy, Cotton.
All the popular brats and cartoon shows geared towards children. That's what they're doing. They're basically trying to orient this towards child voters that are just turning 18.
Yeah, right.
And are coming off of a generation where they watch Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon nonstop. And, I'm a brat, just like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of cartoon brats. I guess there is a cartoon called Brats. That's her, just one of the girl brats, I guess.
Right. Before we get to a break, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I've been watching. I misquoted myself here because I was looking at all these numbers all day, and I just want to straighten this out. When I said the NPR PBS Marist poll was even, that is not true. I screenshotted this earlier so I wouldn't forget it, and I looked back and it was, oh no, that's right. So back in July, early July, Kamala Harris, theoretically at that point, versus Donald Trump, Kamala Harris was +1.
Oh.
Since she's declared her candidacy, this poll just came out yesterday. It is now Donald Trump +1 in the same poll. And then CNN just released one. This is the one where I'm really diving in even as we speak. CNN just released one that has Trump +3. And this is all since she's declared.
Oh, interesting. Well, we'll see how this one plays out. And we'll see what Joe Biden has to say about it later tonight. He's going to give his full, I'm sure, wholehearted and totally 100% his decision on why he decided to step back and then let Kamala Harris be the running, for the person running for office moving forward. I'm sure by 8:00 tonight, wouldn't it be great if Joe Biden went on there? He said, I'm going rogue, folks. They forced me to do this. I'm stuck here.
Yeah.
They told me I came up here and I dropped out of the race. That's not a fact, Jack. Not a joke.
That's not my signature.
Yeah, he actually runs up and punches the teleprompter and gets right in the face of the camera. He goes, listen, they're lying to you. Yeah.
They pop up like the technical difficulty sign.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be great? Okay, Joe Biden has the opportunity to do the funniest thing ever tonight. Then.
Yeah, MSNBC comes back on. Well, appears we're having some problems.
He tries to look real close. I'm not dropping out.
All right, we have one more segment coming up. Still a couple of minutes to vote in the YouTube poll. Go do that now. I'm Ryan Ricker filling in. Oh, please let that be the case. Please. I think if he wanted his approval rating to shoot up, he does that.
Yeah, I'd approve of him if he did that.
I would approve of that too. I'd say yes, yes. You're listening to 97.1 FM Talk.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on Twitter @AnnieFryShow.
Stop everything you're doing right now and ask yourself, are you currently receiving steady paychecks?
What about when you're retired? Will you receive a monthly check to cover your expenses and also have some fun? Marvin Mitchell and the team at Compass Retirement Solutions calls this mailbox money. It's a monthly check you'll receive throughout retirement. They don't want you to worry about if the money will show up or how much money you'll receive. The only thing they want you to think about is how to spend it when it arrives. Find out how to get enough money in your mailbox every month when you're retired. Call Marvin Mitchell and the Compass Retirement Solutions team at 314-373-1598 to start working on a plan that can help you create the monthly income you'll need in retirement. Call 314-373-1598 right now and schedule a visit with Compass Retirement Solutions. 314-373-1598. Firm offers insurance services, investments, and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory in Missouri and Illinois.
How do you enjoy your backyard in these hot temperatures? How about a custom sunroom from my friends at Chesterfield Fence and Deck? Mark Cox here. This is a great time to call Chesterfield Fence and Deck because right now, you mentioned my name during the month of July, you're going to get 48 months interest-free financing on your next outdoor project with Chesterfield Fence and Deck. Maybe it is a custom sunroom, an all-season room where you can sit out there in the summer and you can sit in air conditioning and still enjoy the look out your back windows. Maybe it's a pergola or a screen room or a patio. They even do retaining walls. They can take care of whatever you need in the backyard. They do free estimates, right? And, of course, free project design, which is very important. Maybe you've got your own ideas for your backyard. They can help you make that a reality. You will love working with them. Better Business Bureau Torch Award winners at Chesterfield Fence and Deck. Go online today to chesterfieldfence.com.
Home values are sky high, and you have a ton of equity. Your financial advisor thinks the market is peaked. So if you're thinking about selling, it's time. Except for two things. High interest rates will burn you on a new home loan, and you're not ready to move. Savvy financial advisors suggest Truehold's new Sell and Stay program. It's ingenious because they buy your home now while its value is high, but you can stay in your home as long as you want with an easy, affordable lease. Smart, right? Truehold will make you a solid cash offer, not a lowball offer like the others. It's based on your home's current value. The cash is yours to travel, pay off bills, or secure your retirement. And again, you can stay in your home with a comfortable lease. Truehold covers property taxes, insurance, and maintenance. See how much Truehold will pay for your home today. Call 1-855-300-9993 or visit Truehold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out your home's value without moving. That's Truehold.com.
Join Mark Patrick's seminars and lose weight or stop smoking guaranteed. Early bird special only $49.99. Seminars Tuesday, August 13th at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites St. Louis Airport in St. Louis, and Wednesday, August 14th at the 4 Points by Sheraton St. Louis Fairview Heights in Fairview Heights. Weight loss seminar 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking seminar 8 p.m.
Help if you want to sell your home as is. Help doesn't matter the condition it's in. Help if you want a simple sale with no agency fees. Claiming groups got you covered, no contingency. House a mess, roof damage, bad taxes, that's all okay. Make sure you remember to call Claiming Real Estate.
Let us help you. ClaimingGroup.com. KLAMEN Group.com.
The Annie Fry YouTube live chat poll, which of these will have the greatest impact on the 2024 presidential race? Will it be illegal immigration, the economy, personality, or other? We'll give you the results of this poll before the end of the show, which ends at 2:56. So a little bit of time to get your vote in. 2:46 right now. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
JerryKelly.com.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon getting set to go here after Fox News. Netanyahu delivers a speech before Congress. A lot of Democrats don't show. We'll cover that. And Brian Kilmeade at 3:25.
You're listening to The Annie Fry Show on St. Louis's home for conservative talk. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
The YouTube live chat poll, last chance, last call. Which of these will have the greatest impact on the 2024 presidential race? Illegal immigration, economy, personality. We'll get to the results there. Real quick, there's two stories in women's sports that I wanted to mention. I know you guys are really big into women's sports, right? But this is actually
It's the
kind
only
of
thing I watch.
interesting. So the Olympics are going on. You have different representations around the world. Well, the New Zealand Olympic Committee accused the Canadian Olympic Committee of using a drone to spy on their practice. It's pretty saucy.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's like Deflategate.
Yeah, exactly. Except, so in New Zealand, they were practicing on the field. They noticed there was a drone up ahead. They said, hey, what's this? They found the operator. The operator was connected with the Canadian Olympic team. So they're being held because you can't do that. That's a big scandal.
You got to tell the drone guy, stop wearing the Canadian jacket, dude.
Just wear the Canadian tuxedo.
Yeah, wear a North Korean jacket or something.
When reached out for comment, Team Canada said, sorry.
Sorry. Yeah, exactly. The other story was the WNBA All-Star Game shatters all-time viewer high. I don't care how many articles they put out about the WNBA. I'm still not watching it. I just will never care. Stop with it. They keep putting these out over and over and over again as if, hey, all of a sudden everyone's going to care. And that very much could be the case. People actually do enjoy it. I don't get it. It's never going to appeal to me. I'm never going to watch it. So just, I think like we have to maybe like dial it down a little bit with WNBA stories. It's like all they report on anymore.
Yeah. When I like I said, I watch a lot of women's sports, but you're talking about the marquee ones. I watch a lot of like archery and like the really low curling and stuff sports that are really
That's too mainstream.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You're talking about the mainstream stuff. No, I really agree with you. I want to care about this story because the story continues to grow about Caitlin Clark, really is what it's about. But I just still have never watched it. I read about it and I go, oh, that's interesting. And no follow-up. Like, it's just like, okay, that happened and now we're moving on.
I mostly have consumed Caitlin Clark basketball through Twitter and watching highlights and stuff like that. And then the other side of that is poking the bear whenever it's the Caitlin Clark haters out there. It's like, she's not even that good. And I'm like, she's the greatest WNBA player ever. Mm-hmm. I just go full in.
I really think we need to make the argument that Caitlin Clark is more important to the WNBA than LeBron James is important to the NBA. And I want to just see a complete meltdown of all sports fans because of that.
But
argument.
I think that's accurate.
It's accurate, 100%.
It is accurate.
Yeah, because I would say that Michael Jordan didn't exist, then a LeBron James would kind of fill that role. But since Michael Jordan exists, he brought that league into the prominence it is and continued to help it grow. It didn't divide the fan base. I would say Caitlin Clark brings it all together and probably brings more value when it comes to total percentage of the NBA than LeBron James does to the NBA.
Well,
so let's do it.
I will point this stat out to you. They have not once ever moved an NBA game from a one-size venue to a larger venue to accommodate more tickets being sold because LeBron James is playing in it. But they did do that with Caitlin Clark. She came, I think it was Las Vegas, and they moved it to the big arena in Las Vegas, and they sold all the tickets to it as well.
I'm disappointed because, like, NBA-wise, I pretty much just follow the Washington Generals, and I have been disappointed for years. And they're not. I keep thinking
they can't catch a break.
They're going to turn it around this year. They never do.
Always cheating going on in those games. All right, so let's look at this YouTube poll. It's so hard to put money on those games. There's so much cheating that is allowed by the refs.
Yeah.
I've lost so much. They're due. They
are due.
They don't even call traveling on the Harlem Globetrotters anymore. They don't even call traveling. All right, what's the YouTube poll again?
The YouTube poll, which of these will have the greatest impact on the 2024 presidential race? Illegal immigration, economy, personality, or other?
Which one do you think, Ryan?
To me, is economy, because that's the everyday. Everyone sees this. I mean, illegal immigration, a lot of people don't see that all the time. Personality, a lot of people don't see that every time. The way the economy is, everyone sees that every day. So I have to believe that's going to have the greatest impact.
Yeah, I want to say illegal immigration just because I do believe that she's going to be saddled with a lot of that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's going to be a two-horse race. I don't know the results yet. I haven't seen them. Brad's got them.
Mm-hmm.
Between economy and personality. And between those two, I'm going to choose economy for the same exact reason you just did, Ryan Recker, that it is in your face. You can't afford rent. You're going to think about that every single day. Whereas personality, you're going to see it on YouTube. You're going to see it in socials, but it's not in your face as much as it is your pocketbook.
Yeah, I agree with both of you. It's the economy. It's always been the economy. It will always be the economy. It's the one thing that's constant that hurts every time you go to the grocery store. It hurts every time you try to fill up your truck. It hurts every time it's right in your face. Ryan, you talk about personality. When you look at personality, the thing about personality is people have already made up their mind on Donald Trump. And basically what they're going to go is does his personality put me off enough to suffer and pay more for everything? And I think that answer is going to be no. I think it's really going to be the economy.
All right, let's find out these results.
Okay, so with 185 votes in, the other got 7%, coming in third with personality at 13%, and then your winner is economy at 59%, with illegal immigration getting 21%.
I see it. Remember the good old days when you could fill up the tank for about $20-25? Wasn't that great?
Oh, man.
Man, wasn't that awesome? Bacon's like $9 a pound anymore. It's like everything's so expensive. And I don't know about you, but I see the memes where people take pictures of their fridge and they realize that, hey, it's not full like it used to be. Remember when you used to be able to go to the grocery store, spend $100 and fill your fridge with that $100? Now you can spend $150 and only get basically the essentials, the things that you basically need. And you can't really go much above and beyond that with $150. It's terrible. That's what is going to impact most people, hopefully in the decision-making process, and realize things have not been as good as they're trying to tell you they are.
I know it's cliche, but one of the things that they said at the RNC quite a bit, I saw multiple speakers say, drill, baby, drill, baby, drill. And I'm glad that they did, because that does need to be a policy that is implemented day one, because that was implemented day one of the Biden administration, and we've seen what's happened.
Opposite of that, yeah.
It affects so many things. We've gone over this territory before, but the minute you, like you said, Ryan, the minute you reduce the amount that it costs to fill up your truck or your car, it's not only good for you, it's good for every supply chain.
That's what
it's
I was
good
gonna
for
say.
Everything to have cheaper energy, and it is not that hard to do. Like, it doesn't take Trump to do that. It takes anybody relatively competent to not shut down American drilling day one of your administration to make that happen.
The thing about the drilling and getting the fuel prices down is exactly what you said, Ryan. It's the supply chain. Almost every major good on the shelf of your store is delivered via a truck, and when fuel prices go up, the cost of delivery goes up, and that gets passed on, and that goes passed on to the store, which then passes it on to you, the consumer. So if you can fix that, you can alleviate some of this high inflation.
Yep. So when you talk to a business owner, what are some of the biggest expenses you have? Cost of labor being one, and two, of course, the supplies and the problems of getting your supply is also a big deal. But think about all these different states that have implemented, I guess, higher minimum wages, things like that. And then cost of living increases, and they put extra taxes on to business owners on top of that too. All of those things are contributing to why things are so expensive all the way down the line. And here you are sitting there thinking to yourself, like, did it really have to be this way? People wanted it this way by voting for Joe Biden, because they put their priorities not in your pocketbook, but they put priorities in, you know what, we really got to get electric vehicles going, so we're going to punish everyone down the line to try to force the hand for it. That's the type of nonsense that you run into when you vote for Kamala Harris, who's actually even more progressive than Joe Biden, even more progressive than Bernie Sanders, based on her voting record when she was in Senate. Oh, boys, I tell you what, this is fun. I always like it when I get a chance to come in here and fill in for Andy Fry, because you guys are so good together, and you bring an outsider like me to get to come back to St. Louis even for a couple of hours. I really do appreciate that.
Yeah, thanks, Ryan. And just a reminder that Annie will be back tomorrow, so back to the normal show. It's been a vacation, so she'll be back. And, hey, I wouldn't miss 12 o'clock. She'll be ready to go.
Yep, and don't forget, too.
No kidding.
You have Joe Biden giving his speech later tonight from the Oval Office. Don't write off the fact that he may say he's being held prisoner. I never wrote that.
Yep.
Somebody help me. Okay, no, that's not going to happen. But, man, wouldn't that be the funniest thing ever if he came out and just, like, denied all the stuff that was coming out about him. I still think there's a chance all of this was pre-recorded anyway. Just play the recording. All right, that's going to be aired live tonight here on 97.1. Mark Reardon coming up in a moment. I'm Ryan Recker filling in on 97.1 FM Talk. We'll talk to you soon.
Gonna lose control tonight. What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
I've talked to you about STS Armory and how they have access to all of the different firearms you might be seeking out. They understand exactly how to navigate the Second Amendment in the state of Illinois. They are your best resource for anybody who is looking to protect themselves, to learn more, or to get the next thing to add to the collection. STS-armory.com is the website, but I want to highlight something very special that they do that you need to check out for yourself, and that is the training and the classes that they provide. They are experts, but they're also kind. I appreciate how helpful they are. They never look down on anyone, whether you're walking in and you're like, I think I need a FOID card. What's a FOID card? Or you're looking for the most specific thing that you could possibly think of. They can help you find that as well. But the classes they offer, the conceal and carry classes, the renewal classes, they nail it down to ladies only classes, kids and teen firearm safety and education, they have it all. 618-931-GUNS, STS-armory.com.
If you're thinking of selling your home, I'm sure there are two things you want: certainty and the most money, right? Hi, it's Mark Cox, and if you've been listening to me for some time, you know the only agent